Multiple worlds collecting cards from Naruto. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 26 Gold Exchange. Chen Tian naturally didn't know about these things. He waited until the middle of the night before sneaking outside the room of the middle-aged rebel ninja. Looking at the paper window in front of him, Chen Tian wanted to poke a hole to see what was going on inside, but he was afraid that the noise he made would wake up the ninja inside. After all, he himself had no perception ability, and he didn't know how strong the guy inside was. In addition, Chen Tian found that he didn't seem to have any ninjutsu to enter the room quietly. I still have too little experience, and my ninjutsu is not comprehensive enough. At this moment, Chen Tian's originally inflated heart slowly sank. Before, I thought I was so powerful that I could even play with Kakuzu, who was at the level of Cage. Now I think the main reason is that the other party underestimated me. In the future, I must obtain some illusions, escape techniques and perception ninjutsu. In order not to encounter such a dilemma again, Chen Tian decided on his future development direction in his heart. It is difficult for ordinary ninjas to take one path, but Chen Tian is different. He has a system and doesn't need to learn ninjutsu by himself. That's why he can develop ninjutsu, body and illusion in an all-round way. After thinking about it, he was sure that he couldn't control the enemy like an assassin, so he could only use the method he was best at. A warrior should look like a warrior. As soon as the words fell, the door in front of Chen Tian was broken into pieces with a bang. At the same time, Chen Tian, who was originally standing outside the door, used all his strength and 200 points of speed to reach the bed in an instant. The sealing technique that had been prepared long ago suddenly fell on the person on the bed, completely sealing his chakra. But at this time, he found that there were two people on the bed, and in a hurry, his right hand grabbed it like lightning. After getting it in his hand, he found that it felt delicate, soft and slippery. The next moment, the person seemed to be frightened and fainted. After confirming that there was no danger, Chen Tian turned on the light in the room and looked at the scene on the bed. The rebel ninja whose chakra he sealed came to the ground obediently and sensibly squatted in the corner and looked at him. There was only a white body left on the bed. Who else could it be but the master from before? Bah. Bastard. Chen Tian complained viciously after knowing the situation instantly. But he looked at the rebel ninja in the corner with an even more unfriendly look. Come on, introduce yourself. Sitting on the chair, Chen Tian asked. My lord, my name is Mata. I'm a genin from the Sand Shadow Village. I'm currently a lonely rebel ninja. My father is, and my mother is. Mata gave out all his ancestors like pouring beans. Seeing that he was still introducing, Chen Tian couldn't help but interrupted. Stop. Tell me where the nearest money exchange is? The nearest money exchange is in the toilet 800 meters east of the Hot Spring Hotel. Open the second cubicle of the toilet and push the wooden board at the back to enter. Mata didn't hesitate at all, which made Chen Tian feel a little embarrassed. The other party was so cooperative, but he was so heavy-handed. This is not good. Not good. But he naturally wouldn't believe the other party so easily, so he said, your chakra has been sealed by me now. No one can unlock it without me. I will go to the gold exchange tomorrow to see if I find that you lied to me. Chen Tian didn't finish the rest of the words, but he believed that Mata would definitely understand what he meant. After seeing the other party repeatedly assuring and swearing that he would never leave the Hot Spring Hotel, Chen Tian left the room directly. Because the door had been kicked by him, he didn't close it. At the same time, he thought viciously in his heart, now there is no door. If you have the ability, you can live broadcast inside. Thinking of this, he felt much more comfortable. After returning to his room, Chen Tian thought about tomorrow's plan. Before going to bed, he suddenly thought of what he had grabbed before. Round, smooth, tender. Combined with that naked body, what else could this be? After waking up, it was already noon the next day. After washing up, Chen Tian went to see Mata first and left the Hot Spring Hotel after finding that he was still there. After finding a random place to eat a few bites, He went straight to the gold exchange. After a while, he came to the second cubicle of the toilet according to Mata's instructions. Suspiciously, he stretched out his right hand and gently pushed the wooden wall. With a creak, a wall on the wooden wall that was about the same size as the door opened. I didn't expect it to be here. Mata is really right. Chen Tian was a little speechless. Seeing Mata's cooperation, he thought there was some conspiracy. He didn't expect that the other party was so well behaved because he was afraid of death. There are such ninjas? For a moment, Chen Tian felt that his three views collapsed. But since he was here, he naturally had no need to hesitate and stepped in. It is worth mentioning that from the night attack on Mata last night to now, he has always maintained the appearance of an adult Naruto, so he did not expose himself. After entering the gold exchange, a space of more than 200 square meters came into view. Although there were several lights to maintain the light, it still seemed a little dim. However, there was no one in the gold exchange, except a little girl behind the bar. Has the money exchange always been so quiet? Confused, Chen Tian asked the girl at the bar. The girl looked about 17 or 18 years old, wearing a light blue skirt and a ponytail, and looked very pleasing to the eye. Usually it's still very lively here, but there was a big reward recently, so they all came out to try their luck. After seeing Chen Tian, the girl was stunned at first, and then smiled lightly, as if nothing had happened. She nodded in understanding, knowing that the big reward was hers without thinking. She was too lazy to ask more questions, and immediately opened her mouth to confess her purpose. I want to know who posted the big reward. Sorry, our money exchange will not disclose the information of customers, and I don't know who posted it. The girl still kept the smile on her face and said softly, since you don't know, then find someone who knows. Hearing Chen Tian's request, the girl didn't seem to be surprised at all. She stretched out her hand to signal Chen Tian to wait here, and opened a secret door and walked in. After a while, the girl came out with a handsome young man in his 20s. Chen Tian was alert the moment the young man appeared. Although he didn't know his specific strength, he was definitely a ninja. I don't know what the guest wants to see me for. If you are asking about the bounty, I have nothing to say. As soon as the young man opened his mouth, Chen Tian frowned uncomfortably. Although the word seemed polite, the young man gave people a feeling of superiority. And shouldn't you introduce yourself first? Chen Tian asked him politely. What if I must know? Then I can only follow the rules of the exchange. The young man was not to be outdone, staring at Chen Tian with a dead look in his eyes, and a trace of murderous intent flashed continuously. With his eyes narrowed, Chen Tian's mind turned 1,000 times, because he was unsure of the man's strength, so he said, in that case, I will leave now. After that, Chen Tian turned and left. The young man looked at Chen Tian like this, and a disdainful smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. But the next moment, something strange happened, which made the young man's eyes turn red with anger. Chapter 27 Shocking Information. Chen Tian, who was originally far away, silently formed a seal in front of him, and a flash of lightning appeared on his right hand. The next moment, the extremely fast speed of the lightning cut plus Chen Tian's almost full level instant body technique, before the young man could react, his right hand had already pierced into the young man's chest. The young man was the head of a gold exchange after all, and Chen Tian couldn't guess his specific strength. He used such a method to be on the safe side. Perhaps some people think that Chen Tian's sneak attack was not glorious enough. If Chen Tian heard this, he would definitely spit in his face. Have you ever seen a ninja who fights like a warrior head on? Ninjas are assassins, and their professions are similar to killers. Chen Tian didn't think there was anything wrong with this. During the safe period, he didn't delay at all, and another lightning cut on his free left hand pierced the opponent's neck fiercely. He always remembered the saying that villains die because of talking too much. Bang! The young man opened his eyes wide, full of disbelief. How dare he kill me? The Huan Jinso has been passed down for thousands of years. How powerful is the hidden strength contained in it? Even after the 5 major ninja villages were awarded by Huan Jinso, they did not take action against Huan Jinso. Why did this person dare to do this? Unfortunately, he never had the chance to know the answer. His eyes went black, and he completely lost consciousness. Watching the young man die, the girl beside him trembled and dared not say a word. Glancing at her, Chen Tian went straight into the backstage of the Huan Jinso and put all the information in it into the space at any time. Although he didn't mind killing people, he was not to the point of killing without blinking an eye. This is just an ordinary girl who doesn't even have chakra. It doesn't matter if she is let go. After Chen Tian left, the trembling girl hurriedly stood up and through the land where she had been standing. Even though there were a few bloodstains on Qian Qian's jade hands, she didn't stop. After digging a pit of more than 50 centimeters, a red scroll appeared in the pit. The scroll didn't look big, just about the same as a rolled up A4 paper. After taking out the scroll, the girl seemed relieved and no longer as anxious as before. Chen Tian, a bounty of 100 million, I will remember you. Looking at the direction where Chen Tian was going, the girl murmured. The next moment, the scroll was opened and the girl disappeared in the smoke. If Chen Tian heard what the girl said, he would be shocked. Because he has always maintained the perfect level of transformation. Even among the shadow level strongmen, there are not many who can see through him. How can such an ordinary girl see through it? Unfortunately, Chen Tian didn't know all this. After leaving the gold exchange, Chen Tian immediately rushed to the next town. After arriving in the town, he opened a room at random and entered it to check the information that had been seized before. In these materials, he knew who was bountying each person. After flipping through dozens of sheets, Chen Tian saw his own information. Looking at the words written on it, the murderous intent in his eyes could hardly be concealed. Shimura Danzo, it's you. The information clearly stated, Konoha Ninja Chen Tian, 6 years old, bounty of 100 million, bounty holder Shimura Danzo. After saving Kakashi and Hiranorin, he had applied to Minato for graduation and was now a formal genin. That's why the information says Konoha genin. After reading his own information, Chen Tian secretly made up his mind to sentence Danzo to death. Konoha Pot King? What's the point of having you, the Konoha Pot King, when Minato is still alive? After putting aside his own affairs, he continued to check the information in his hand, but the more he read, the more frightened he became. This information is so comprehensive that it contains almost all the secrets of the 5 major ninja villages. How many jonin there are in each ninja village, how strong they are, and how much power they have cultivated in secret. Chen Tian doesn't know about other villages, but he has some understanding of Konoha, and this information is exactly right. There is only the fact that Hiranorin became the Three Tails Jinchuriki, otherwise Chen Tian would suspect that Kanjinsho is also the power of Black Zetsu. But even so, it is terrifying enough. He carefully put the information in his hand away again, intending to give it to Minato after returning to the village, so that he would be prepared. He touched his chin and thought. No wonder Kakuzu and Hidden, who were at the level of Kage in the original work, also completed the bounty in an orderly manner instead of directly robbing Kanjinsho. It seems that there is a reason. There is no information about Kanjinsho himself in the information, so Chen Tian does not know how powerful Kanjinsho is, but he thinks it will not be small. Now that he has offended Kanjinsho, Chen Tian has become cautious. After a day of rest, Chen Tian continued to set off for the next town. This time was different from the previous time, because he already knew Tsunade's information. After Chen Tian left Konoha, Minato and Orochimaru were not idle. One after another, technological products came out of Orochimaru's laboratory. With Konoha enduring to help farm, Konoha's funds were almost inexhaustible, so a large amount of money was invested in the laboratory. In Orochimaru's hands, this money became generators, electric lights, computers and other items, greatly improving the quality of life of the people of Konoha. After the news spread, some nobles of the land of fire no longer lived in Johto, and they all wanted to settle down in Konoha. Minato, who started a real estate business at the suggestion of Chen Tian, could hardly breathe when he saw the silver coins that were thrown at him like paper. In this way, Konoha not only did not spend money, but also made a lot of money, which made Minato so happy that he couldn't close his mouth. Sarutobi Hiruzen, who saw all this, was so upset that his teeth almost fell out. Why didn't he have so much money when he was in power? Because of this money, he was often dragged by the daimyo. Those who were as tough as Minato didn't care about the daimyo at all. After having money, it was naturally different. Minato mobilized all ninjas to start building a new Konoha, and even the Enbu were not spared. Items such as reinforced concrete were transported out of Orochimaru's laboratory and turned into houses in the hands of these ninjas. The two-story Hokage building, which used to be the tallest, was no longer available at this time, and high-rise buildings continued to appear. The labor force of ninjas was almost astonishing. Every day when Konoha residents got up, they would find that Konoha had changed a lot. In addition to these, the most important thing is that the wife of the fourth Hokage, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, Uzumaki Kushina, is pregnant. The future savior, the well-deserved protagonist, is about to be born. So far, 3 of the 12 little strongmen of Konoha have been born, and 9 are in the process of being conceived. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 28 Disappointment. Chen Tian had expected all the changes in Konoha. After all, it was he who had made the plans, but he had not expected that the progress would be so fast. However, he did not know these things yet. When he returned to Konoha with Tsunade, the two thought they had gone to the wrong place. At this time, Chen Tian was on the road, heading towards Hengyang Town. In the casino in the previous town, Chen Tian had already found out that the big fat sheep was in Hengyang Town. After knowing this news, Chen Tian slapped his forehead in annoyance. The reputation of Hengyang Town was not much worse than that of Chengdu in the Land of Fire. In addition to Chengdu, Hengyang Town is the most famous gambling city in the Land of Fire. There are dozens of casinos in it, and each one is magnificent and famous. Tsunade, the woman who represents gambling among the 3 ninjas, is most likely in Hengyang Town. 2 days later, Hengyang Town had already appeared in Chen Tian's eyes. From a distance, Hengyang Town was bustling with people, and the excitement was no worse than that of Konoha. "Find Tsunade in here," hiss. Chen Tian sucked in a breath of cold air, rubbed his forehead in frustration, and felt helpless in his heart. His desire for the exploration ninjutsu became even greater. If there was an exploration ninjutsu, he wouldn't have to sneak attack in the previous battle, and it wouldn't be so troublesome to find Tsunade now. Just like in the gold exchange, the young man was obviously just a chunin, which made him nervous for a long time. However, along the way, Chen Tian also found that before his physique broke through, even the drop rate of ninjutsu cards was much smaller. If not for this, the ninjutsu he needed would have been picked up long ago. Shaking his head, he threw away all these messy thoughts and walked into the Hengyang Town in front of him. He was getting closer and closer to Tsunade, and closer to his own physical breakthrough. Thinking of this, Chen Tian couldn't help but get a little excited. So after entering Hengyang Town, he didn't wander around and immediately went to a casino. The big fat sheep has escaped. Go chase him. That's where he ran to. Chase him. He still owes me 5 million taels. We can't let him get away. Before entering the casino, hundreds of people came out of the casino. One of them pointed in a direction and shouted, and the crowd chased after him. The momentum was no different from that of 1,000 horses galloping. After the smoke dissipated, there were almost no people at the entrance of the casino. The reason why I say almost is because there were 2 little girls standing not far from Chen Tian. The older one had black hair and was holding a pink pig in her arms. She looked about 14 or 15 years old, about the same age as Kakashi. The younger one had golden hair and looked about 6 or 7 years old, about the same age as Chen Tian. At this time, the 6 or 7-year-old blonde girl was standing with her hands on her waist and laughing. "You still want money from me? I can fool you with just one shadow clone." This arrogant look made Chen Tian sweat on his forehead. He was too familiar with this look, the familiar blonde hair, the familiar airport. Isn't it the little girl Tsunade turned into in the original book? The black-haired girl next to him is Shizune, and the pig in her arms is called Tantan. Even Chen Tian himself didn't expect to find Tsunade so smoothly, and there was still a little pride in his heart that he was the child of destiny. But before he could finish his pride, he found a little boy staring at his Tsunade stupidly and spoke. "Boy, look at me, and I will break your legs." While speaking, Tsunade deliberately showed a fierce look. But after maintaining the transformation technique, she didn't look any fierce, but very cute. Is she always like this? You've worked so hard. Not wanting to pay attention to Tsunade, Chen Tian cast a sympathetic look at Shizune. At the same time, he opened the space at any time, took out his Konoha ninja forehead protector from it, and put it on his forehead. Seeing this forehead protector, Tsunade and Shizune didn't know Chen Tian's identity, and Shizune was so excited that she almost cried. Bang! With a sound, Tsunade lifted the transformation technique and revealed her original appearance. It's really big. With just a glance, Chen Tian found that the original work was not exaggerated at all, and Tsunade really had that strength. Boy, who are you? Tsunade had very complicated feelings about Konoha, so her attitude towards Chen Tian was also very complicated. If it weren't for the fact that Chen Tian looked like a child, she would have kicked him out long ago. Chen Tian knew Tsunade's situation and immediately said, "My name is Chen Tian, and I'm the younger brother of the 4th Hokage Minato Namikaze, and now a Konoha Genin." Tsunade showed an expression of as expected, and her eyes looked at Chen Tian with much gentler. Although she was reluctant to return to Konoha, she still understood the situation in Konoha. What's more, Chen Tian was Kushina's adopted brother, and she and Kushina were like sisters, so naturally her attitude towards Chen Tian was much better. Let's go to the tavern first. Let's talk about it later. She originally wanted to say that she would go to the tavern, but seeing Chen Tian's small stature, she changed her mind. In just a few minutes, a group of 3 people and a pig arrived at the hotel where Tsunade lived. Bang! Tsunade closed the door and asked, "Tell me, what are you doing here?" As she spoke, she carefully looked at Chen Tian. She had known about this kid from Kushina's letters, but this was the first time she had seen him. After a little sense, even Tsunade was shocked. This kid has too much chakra, much more than when she was 6 years old. You have to know that she inherited the blood of the ninja god Sanju Hashirama, and chakra has always been her strong point. Tsunade even thought that this kid in front of her might reach the height of her grandfather in the future. Thinking of this, she quickly shook her head and excluded this idea from her mind. Except for Uchiha Madara, no one can reach the level of her grandfather. I came to ask Sister Tsunade if there is any way to break through the limit of the body. Chen Tian asked her question directly. Tsunade was a straightforward person, so there was no need to beat around the bush. Now that she has a good relationship with Tsunade because of Kushina, she should not make herself uncomfortable. Tsunade did not answer Chen Tian's question immediately, but looked at him in surprise. Why would a genius like this ask about the way to break through the physical limit? But she did not ask more questions. After thinking for a while, she answered, "I know one way to break through the physical limit. That is the 8 gates. I believe you should have heard of it." After hearing Tsunade's words, Chen Tian's eyes suddenly darkened. She knew the 8 gates, but this was not what he needed. What he needed was a permanent way to break through the physical limit, not this temporary way. Chapter 29, A Ray of Hope. At this time, Tsunade said again, "Although I don't know why you are asking such a thing, I can say for sure that there is no such thing in this world." Tsunade's words were like thunderbolts hitting Chen Tian's head, which made him completely confused. If he can't find a way to break through his body, his attributes will not continue to increase. Even if his strength is improved in the future, he will become a blood-efficient ninja like Kakashi. In the later period, when monsters are running all over the ground, even if he has the strength of a shadow level, it is not enough. Is he going to run away when Pain comes? What about Kushina and Minato? Now that he has changed the development of the plot, who knows if Naruto's mouth-to-mouth trick will still work at that time. Moreover, Chen Tian is unwilling to let others control his destiny. Perhaps seeing Chen Tian's cute little face full of sorrow, the kind Shizune comforted him. "It's okay, Zio-Ocean, work hard wherever there is a problem. You can definitely solve the problem." The timid voice exploded in Chen Tian's mind like thunder. Ha ha ha. With a wild laugh, Chen Tian suddenly appeared in front of Shizune, hugged her and thanked her. "Thank you Shizune, I have a way." Seeing Chen Tian suddenly appear in front of Shizune, even Tsunade's eyes flashed with shock. This speed is really too fast, almost as fast as her own. But the child in front of her is still a 6-year-old child. What about the future? For a moment, the idea that she had suppressed originally came up again in her mind. Compared with Tsunade, Shizune did not react at all. After Chen Tian finished speaking, she exclaimed and hid behind Tsunade with a red face. Seeing this, Chen Tian smiled awkwardly and touched the back of his head involuntarily. Just like Shizune said, work hard wherever there is a problem. If the system limits his strength, then find a way from the system. If there is a way in reality, what is the use of the system? He is also confused by the authorities. Naruto is also known as the Black Zetsu saves his mother, the Otsutsuki family history, etc. All these show that the biggest thing in Naruto is blood. Therefore, if he wants to break through the limit of his body, he has to pick up the physical and blood cards. As long as he has the physical fitness of the Otsutsuki clan, won't his physical fitness naturally break through? In the original work, apart from the Otsutsuki clan, the most powerful are the shadows of each village, and there is no super shadow level at all. He is just an ordinary body now, and he is not a special genius. Isn't it normal that his strength is limited? Thinking of this, Chen Tian suddenly understood, and he hugged Shizune in excitement. However, there is no need to explain these things in detail to Tsunade Shizune, and he will never reveal the secrets of the system. After finding a way, Chen Tian first stared at Tsunade in front of him. Is there a physique more suitable than the Senju bloodline? Maybe there is, but Tsunade is right in front of him. Without thinking, Chen Tian shamelessly stayed by Tsunade's side, trying to pick up the cards dropped by Tsunade as soon as possible. In the blink of an eye, a month has passed, and Chen Tian still hasn't picked up the cards he wants. Because Tsunade gambles every day, she will not fight, and no one will bother her, so the chance of cards dropping is pitifully small. Therefore, Chen Tian decided to trick Tsunade back to Konoha. Konoha has Kushina, who has the Uzumaki physique. If Tsunade goes back, the probability of Chen Tian picking up cards will double. For this purpose, Chen Tian tells Tsunade about the changes in Konoha today every day. Although these are all imagined, Chen Tian has no choice but to trick her. But what he doesn't know is that Konoha's development is too fast, and what he said is even a little behind. After telling these, Chen Tian also told Tsunade about the things that happened some time ago when he confronted Sarutobi Hiruzen and calculated Shimura Danzo. He knew that Tsunade left because these two people had killed all the Senju clan, so he said it specifically. Sure enough, after hearing these news, Tsunade's beautiful face smiled a lot more. But even so, she still did not agree to return to Konoha, and Chen Tian had no choice but to take out his trump card. Sister Tsunade, Sister Kushina is pregnant. He is the Jinchuriki. The seal will loosen during childbirth. If someone comes to mess with it, it will be very dangerous. I have to go back. After packing his luggage, Chen Tian found Tsunade and threw this sentence out. He didn't believe it. Tsunade and Kushina have such a good relationship. Can she remain indifferent after hearing this? Sure enough, Tsunade's face changed slightly, but she seemed to think of something again. She shook her head dejectedly and said, "Then you go back. The teacher will definitely help you." Listening to Tsunade's words, Chen Tian's heart made a sound. This was completely different from what he imagined. He immediately said, "We just calculated him before. He has killed so many Konoha strongmen. I don't believe him." After a pause, Chen Tian continued, "Now there is only brother Minato alone, and there are not enough people." This sentence said in Tsunade's heart. Sarutobi Hiruzen is indeed that kind of person. Even the Senju clan that founded Konoha was exterminated by him. Now she is the only one left. Will Sarutobi Hiruzen really protect Kushina? And as this kid said, they have deprived Sarutobi Hiruzen of his rights before. How can Sarutobi Hiruzen not hate him? Tsunade is not sure. If Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo join forces, Minato really can't stand it. Jiraiya is not in Konoha either. Thinking of this, Tsunade felt even more depressed and hated her homophobia in her heart. Seeing Tsunade struggling for life and death, Chen Tian knew that it was almost time and left immediately. In the original work, Tsunade and Jiraiya were not there on the night of the Ninetales. It was not that they did not care about Kushina and Minato, but that they did not get the news. Now I take these two people back. I don't know if the Ninetales can continue to jump around at that time. thinking of the Ninetales being surrounded by 4 or 5 cage level strongmen. As soon as it came out, I don't know how he would feel. Wait. I'll go back with you. Shizune, go pack your luggage. Just when Chen was about to walk out of the room with his mind wandering, Tsunade finally called him. Hearing the voice behind him, Chen's smile flashed across his face and he stopped obediently. After Shizune packed up, the 3 of them and the pig set off. Because they didn't have to take a detour this time, Chen estimated that they would only need 4 or 5 days to return to Konoha. This speed was much faster than the more than 1 month it took him to find Tsunade. Chapter 30, Inexplicable Siege. It was supposed to be a 5-day journey, but Chen and Tsunade walked together and only walked half of the way after more than 10 days. That would have been fine, but once when Chen was buying food, he accidentally let Tsunade know that he had a lot of wealth, and then the nightmare began. Tsunade extorted 50 million taels from him, not only to pay off Tsunade's gambling debts, but also to give this woman enough money to gamble. Every day, he spent most of the day in the casino, and only had a small half of the time to travel. But Chen didn't feel bad. 50 million taels was not a big deal for him, so he gave it. Moreover, in return, Tsunade would teach him ninjutsu when she had time. Unfortunately, Chen's talent was not enough, and he didn't learn any of them, but he was lucky to pick up a few. The following is what he gained in the past 10 days. Medical ninjutsu, palm immortal technique. Medical ninjutsu, healing technique. Medical ninjutsu, fine injury extraction technique. And the most disgusting thing for Chen was that he would lose every time he gambled. The first 3 medical ninjutsu made Chen happy for a long time, and Tsunade was amazed at his talent. But the loser made him feel sick. When he first got the loser, Chen didn't believe it, so he went to Tsunade to gamble with him for half the night. When he left, his eyes were already dull, and the fact taught him a hard lesson. In the middle of the night, he and Tsunade were tied all the time, and neither of them won a game. 2 losers collided with each other, and no one could win. After discussing with the system, and finding that he couldn't return the goods, Chen could only accept this fact helplessly. But a bigger blow came again, that is, Tsunade had to gamble with him several times every day. It was not easy to find someone who couldn't beat him. How could he let him go easily? Today, 3 people and a pig came to a new town. Tsunade couldn't wait to go to the casino, leaving Shizune to follow Chen. Anyway, there was no rush. Chen called Shizune to go out and go shopping. Shizune, do you want to go out for a walk? Okay. Holding the pink pig, he gently nodded his little head, and the 2 little guys went out together. Just after going out, Chen Tian looked around for a few times and his face darkened. He whispered to Jingyin, something is wrong. If something happens later, you should hide quickly. I don't know when. There was no one on the street in front of them. But Chen always felt that someone was staring at him, and his eyes were full of malice. Suffering from the lack of perception ninjutsu, he could only wait and see. Swish, swish, swish. The next moment, more than a dozen figures suddenly appeared on the street, some holding knives, and some with bare hands. The only similarity was that these people were covered with their faces, and their appearance could not be seen clearly. It's this kid, kill him. Without talking nonsense with Chen, these people rushed up. Some ninjas were making hand seals on the spot, and some were samurai charging with knives. Hide. Without turning his head, he shouted to Jingyin, and Chen immediately entered the crowd. The attack of so many people could not be resisted by relying on his own defensive ninjutsu, so it was better to fight these people in close combat. At least in the crowd, they would take care of their own people and not release powerful ninjutsu. Originally, the cute Shizune did not understand Chen's words, but when she heard Chen's voice again, she subconsciously hid in the hotel. Rakery. With the extremely fast instant body technique and the powerful rakery, a person fell to the ground the moment Chen rushed over. When he was about to use the same trick again, a blade light stopped his action. Thinking that Chen's fast speed caused these people to be a little dazed, one of them died in the battle. Seeing that he was about to rush to the next person, the leading samurai could not help it. Secret book, draw the sword. The silver white blade light came in front of Chen like the sharpest cutting machine. Substitution technique. Looking at the blade light less than 1 meter away from him, Chen Tian instinctively used the best plan. Even so, when he appeared again, a trace of blood came out of the tip of his nose. Reaching out to wipe it, Chen Tian felt a little scared. If it weren't for the body's instinctive reaction speed, he would have been cut in half. Then his face became more solemn, his eyes fixed on these people, and he was calculating in his heart. There were a total of 21 people, including 13 ninjas, 7 samurai, and 1 who was dressed strangely, and I didn't know what his profession was. My sudden burst killed 1, and there were still 20 left. There was no genin among them, and the weakest was a chunin. It was hard to tell the strength of the samurai, but there were 3 jonins, almost all of whom were at the level of the future Asuma Sarutobi. It's not easy. With a sigh, Chen Tian's eyes became sharper. The most suitable ninjutsu now is the tailed beast ball, but these samurai can't give me a chance to release it. Moreover, after the distance is pulled, the opponent's dozen ninjas will be released, and I may not be able to bear it. And Chen Tian used his premonition to ignore the person who had not taken action, and he was very concerned in his heart. Fortunately, none of these people went to trouble Shizune, otherwise Chen Tian would not have time to rescue him. Konoha Big Cyclone. With a plan in mind, Chen Tian kicked at a chunin. With a strong body and strong chakra, this kick directly made a sound of breaking through the air. It was obviously unwise to fight with the ignorant samurai in close combat. Let them go after all these ninjas were dealt with. Secret book, sword slash, fire style, fire dragon technique. Just as Chen Tian rushed forward, several ninjutsu and sword beams were already rushing towards him. Seeing these attacks getting closer and closer, Chen Tian's right hand moved quietly, and the substitute technique that had been prepared was activated instantly. When the ninjutsu and sword beam hit the white mist, Chen Tian had already appeared behind a jonin. Reikiri. Without hesitation, the lightning flashed on his left hand and instantly pierced the chest of the jonin. How is it possible? After uttering the last words in front of him, the jonin fell to the ground, raising a cloud of dust. At this time, Chen Tian had already used the instant body technique to leave the place. During this period, he also remembered the strengths and weaknesses of all the people who attacked him. Except for the samurai at the beginning, the other samurai were not to be feared. Now, you are the only one left. Thinking of this, Chen Tian glanced at the person who attacked him again without leaving a trace. By now, everyone had taken action, but that person was the only one who remained as steady as a rock. Pa. Just as Chen Tian was thinking, this guy with strange clothes and even his face came out. When he spoke, everyone else stopped immediately and watched quietly. As for the dead jonin, these people were too lazy to take another look, and this attitude made Chen Tian more cautious. At this time, the strangely dressed man said again, from the beginning, you have been staring at those chunins, making them think that you want to deal with these weaklings first. At this time, you suddenly change your target and take the opportunity to kill a jonin. Not bad. This person explained Chen Tian's psychology word by word and looked at Chen Tian with full appreciation. He was right. Chen Tian took advantage of their carelessness under the pressure of numbers and the illusion that he was staring at chunin to kill a jonin. It was not so easy next time, and he could only compete in hard power. Chapter 31, Meeting Jiraiya. Would you like to join us? You are a smart man, you should know how to choose. While speaking, the man pointed at the ninjas and samurai around him, and his meaning was self-evident. There are quite a lot of people. He nodded without comment, and then said, if you want me to join, don't you need to introduce yourself? Ha ha ha. He chuckled and didn't care about Chen Tian's little calculation, and said, why, you just destroyed one of our gold exchange offices a few days ago, and now you don't recognize it? Knowing that Chen Tian was really trying to get information, how could he escape with so many people? As soon as these words came out, Chen Tian instantly understood that it was the people from the gold exchange office who came to take revenge. The strength of this gold exchange office should not be underestimated. 3 jonin, an elite jonin level samurai, and a person who can't be seen through. I don't know if this power is the full power of the gold exchange office. I still want to continue to get information, but the other party will not give him a chance. Join us now, or die immediately. Grinning, since there is no information, let's start fighting directly. Water style, great explosion water wave. The hands behind his back turned rapidly, and violent waves suddenly appeared and rushed towards the enemies on the opposite side. He had been secretly making seals long before he obtained intelligence, and it happened to explode at this time. This is a hidden benefit of the system that Chen discovered, that is, there is no chakra fluctuation when he makes seals. As long as no one sees his hands, no one can find that he is making seals. Secret book, Swallow Return. Ghost Warrior, Shikigami. Earth style, Earth flow wall. 3 voices sounded in succession, and the strongest ninja and the strongest samurai attacked at the same time. Chen Tian's great explosion water completely dissipated under 2 attacks and 1 defense, without any results. At the moment, when the great explosion water wave was released, the tailed beast ball in front of Chen Tian's face began to condense. As the tailed beast ball grew larger, Chen Tian's face became more and more ugly. In addition to the fact that the chakra was almost exhausted, it was also because of the man in strange clothes. This person turned out to be an onmyaji. Onmyaji has a long history and even appeared before the birth of ninjas. It was not until the 6 Paths sage founded the ninja sect that the onmyaji gradually disappeared. Although it is very difficult to become an onmyaji, their strength is not much worse than that of a ninja, and their methods are very strange. Just look at the green-faced and fanged ghost floating next to the man. If Chen Tian had not seen the god of death in the original book, he would have thought that this guy was the god of death. Tailed beast ball. The moment the waves were crushed, the basketball-sized tailed beast ball in Chen Tian's mouth rushed out with tremendous power. This tailed beast ball contained Chen Tian's 2000 chakras. After releasing the tailed beast ball, his chakra was less than 100. Shikigami, move. Secret book, 1 sword slash. Instant body technique. Looking at the tailed beast ball that was getting bigger and bigger, these people's faces suddenly became ugly. No one knew that Chen Tian actually had such a trick. The Shikigami moved the man out of the attack range of the tailed beast ball and the 2 Jonins left instantly. The most powerful warrior was so fast that he was comparable to the instant body technique of a Jonin. Boom. After the 4 people left the attack range of the tailed beast ball, the tailed beast ball reached the target and exploded instantly. Without even a scream, all these people disappeared without a trace. There was only a deep pit several dozen meters wide, which was terrifying. The 4 people who avoided the tailed beast ball looked ugly. They thought it was an easy task, but so many people died. It was absolutely unforgivable. Kill him. The man who controlled the Shikigami was completely angry, and even his voice became sharp. Tsunade, Jiraiya. If you 2 don't take action, I'm going to die. Seeing the 4 people rushing up, even though the chakra in his body was only enough to release a great fireball technique, Chen Tian was not panicked at all. The noise here was so loud that Tsunade must have heard it and rushed over. As for Jiraiya, Chen Tian accidentally saw a tuft of white hair on the roof of the hotel during the previous battle. Random hairline technique. Painful sky kick. Boom. The 2 were indeed cage level warriors. With just 1 move, Jiraiya tied up a Jonin and strangled him with his hair. Tsunade, due to her hemophobia, kicked the man so hard that he couldn't stand up. She immediately came behind Chen Tian and turned around. Jiraiya, I leave it to you. Before Jiraiya could speak, Tsunade had already completed the division of labor. All the enemies were handed over to Jiraiya, and she and Chen Tian left first. Needless to say, what happened next was that a samurai and an onmyaji were just nothing in front of Jiraiya. In less than 5 minutes, Jiraiya had killed the 2 men and found Tsunade, Chen Tian and others. This was because the onmyaji's methods were strange, otherwise he could have ended it earlier. Tsunade, long time no see. Jiraiya greeted Tsunade first, and then asked Chen Tian, who are you, and how did you provoke Kanjin-sho? Jiraiya was indeed Jiraiya, and he recognized Kanjin-sho just by fighting. Although he was secretly shocked, Chen Tian still answered truthfully. Walking and chatting, the 3 of them soon returned to the hotel, and Shizune ran out. Zio-shan, you are really amazing. You killed more than 20 people and only 4 were left, including a Jonin. Shizune looked at Chen Tian with little stars in her eyes, and her pretty face was full of admiration. She was 13 years old and still a Chunin, but Chen Tian was only 6 years old, and he was already so powerful, it was amazing. After these words came out, even Jiraiya and Tsunade looked at Chen Tian in surprise. When they arrived, Chen Tian was releasing the Great Explosion Water Wave, and they didn't see the previous battle. Originally, they thought Chen Tian just blew up a bunch of small fish, but they didn't expect that he had killed a Jonin before. Are you really 6 years old? Aren't you already several dozen years old, but you haven't grown up yet? Jiraiya's eyes were a little dull, and his mind was full of random thoughts. Although Tsunade didn't say anything, Chen Tian felt uncomfortable with her surprised eyes, and he was ready to run away. There were still a few cards dropped on the battlefield, and he had to pick them up. How could he have time to chat with them? Sister Tsunade, old man Jiraiya, I'm going out for a while, and will be back soon. After the voice fell, Chen Tian used the last chakra to disappear from the spot with a flash body technique. After Chen Tian disappeared, Jiraiya suddenly turned black and white, turned his head mechanically and asked Tsunade, Tsunade, am I that old? The two words old man brought great damage to Jiraiya, who was in his prime, comparable to the frontal bombardment of Chen Tian's tailed beast ball. After leaving Tsunade and Jiraiya, Chen Tian quickly returned to the battlefield. There was no corpse here. Even the big pit bombed by him disappeared. Obviously Jiraiya used Earth Escape to restore it. However, the flashing cards remained in place. I remember that one of these cards was dropped when Tsunade kicked. I don't know if it was the painful heavenly kick or the thousand hands constitution. This made Chen Tian a little impatient. Chapter 32 Thousand Hands Physique. Buddha, Jade Emperor, Guanine Bodhisattva, God and Angels, bless me, I must have 1,000 hands physique. While praying, Chen Tian quickly collected the cards. Because he would pause for a second when collecting the cards, he never dared to pick them up during the battle. The purple card is a secret book, / do you want to merge? The purple card is a secret book, Swallow Return, do you want to merge? The blue card is a ninjutsu, Thunder Escape, do you want to merge? A series of system prompts sounded, and it was finally time to reveal the answer. The special card is Physique, Thousand Hands Physique, do you want to merge? Nice. Hearing the system prompt, Chen Tian immediately waved his hand, his little face full of excitement. This physical problem has troubled him for 2 months. If there was no such problem, he might have become a shadow level strongman. Now that this big problem has finally been solved, the big stone in his heart has fallen to the ground. Fusion. Fuse all of them. Chen Tian didn't want to wait even for a second. He had been surrounded and killed so many times in such a short time. This world was too dangerous. The last time Kakuzu was too careless. This time, Jiraiya and Tsunade were there. Otherwise he didn't know how many times he would have died. The card fusion was successful. The system has been automatically upgraded. Please check it yourself. As a full and strange feeling disappeared, Chen Tian's body trembled suddenly, and the system prompt sounded. Open the system panel. With a little curiosity, Chen Tian directly opened the system panel. Host, Chen Tian. Talent, Space Talent LV3. Physical skills, Konoha Great Cyclone LV4. Full level limited, Ninjutsu, Portable Space LV1, Great Fireball Technique LV6, Earth Flow Wall Technique LV5, Earth Dragon Bullet Technique LV5, Reikiri LV4, Great Explosion Water Wave LV7, Water Array Wall LV5, Water Dragon Bullet LV5, Instant Body Technique LV7, Tail Beast Ball LV2, Earth Flow Wall LV4, Thunder Tunderzo LV5. Full level limited, swordsmanship, secret book, draw sword /LV7, secret book, swallow return LV3, medical ninjutsu, palm immortal technique, healing technique, fine injury extraction technique, sealing technique, omitted, physique, thousand hands physique, physical fitness, chunin, can fight chunin without chakra, comprehensive combat strength, elite jonin. Note, after the system is upgraded, only cards killed by the host can be picked up. Cards will not be dropped by non-host kills. The column of physical fitness has completely disappeared and turned into an evaluation of a chunin, and the strength has reached the level of an elite jonin. In addition to these, the introduction of the system is more comprehensive. Even sealing techniques and healing ninjutsu are included. The only problem is that the number of ways to drop cards has actually decreased, which makes Chen Tian very dissatisfied. After discussing with the system threw a sentence that the novice protection period has passed and Chen Tian had no way to deal with it. In this way, all the previous plans were completely invalidated, and it seemed that it was completely useless for him to let the powerful fight. However, the evaluation of the strength of the elite Jonin still made Chen Tian's depressed mood recover a little. Soon he returned to the hotel and reunited with Tsunade, Jiraiya and others. Chen Tian and others were still on the way back, and Konoha's 2-month construction was almost completed. At this time, Konoha was no longer the small broken village it was before, but had become a modern city. High-rise buildings stood in Konoha, and every family had electricity and running water. Rich families installed Orochimaru brand computers, and mediocre ones also bought Orochimaru brand TVs. In fact, the technology tree in the world of Naruto is very strange. There were computers in the original work during Naruto's time, but it seemed that they were completely useless. Under Chen Tian's teachings, Minato and Orochimaru suddenly realized and popularized these things in Konoha. Seeing Konoha getting better and better day by day, Sarutobi Hiruzen no longer competed with Minato for power. He asked for a big house and disappeared after installing a computer. It's just that according to gossip, there are a lot of used toilet paper in a Sarutobi Hiruzen's house every day, and he himself looks a little haggard. But no one knows why. Shimura Danzo in the underground doesn't have such a good mentality and even despises Sarutobi Hiruzen for training his hand speed every day. After his strength was greatly reduced by Chen Tian's calculation, he hated Chen Tian and Minato to the extreme. So he secretly contacted the demigod hands of the Rain Country, hoping that he could kill Minato and Chen Tian. But no matter how he contacted, no one in the Rain Country responded to him, which made him furious. In fact, it can't be blamed on Hanzo for not keeping his promise. He really has no choice. Unless Danzo can use the impure world reincarnation to pull Hanzo back from the underworld, he can't do it. Now Nagato and Konan, who have just occupied the Rain Country, see Danzo's letter and immediately understand. Well, it's you, the old man who killed my gay friend, so just wait to die. After I have completely mastered the trick of a bag of rice has to carry several floors, I will go to Konoha to find you. So Nagato practiced Shinra Tensei more diligently and ignored Konan beside him. The name of the Naruto version of Yanagishita Hui was completely established. In addition to them, Obito, who had already turned black, did not see the backup plan left by Chen Tian. Chen Tian really overestimated his brain. So after controlling the purpose and the manger key, this guy rushed into the Mist Shadow village just like the original work, and controlled the poor dwarf Yagura. The Blood Mist village of the Mist Shadow village was just the beginning. The major bloodline boundary families suffered one after another, and were exterminated one by one. The rest were also in danger, fearing that their family would be the next one. At the same time, Luosha of the Sand Shadow village stabilized the situation and became the real shadow of the Sand Shadow village. No one could influence his decision, and his wife was about to give birth to the third child. In the Raikage village, the third generation Raikage died in battle, and the fourth generation AI also took office not long ago and was trying to recover. At the same time, they discussed how to negotiate with Konoha and what tricks they could do in the negotiations. For a while, the ninja world was at peace, and the 5 major ninja villages stayed indoors and only did some tasks. With less friction between the major ninja villages, the life of the smaller ninja villages became much better. With the ninja world being stable, Konoha's reputation spread very quickly, and rich people came to Konoha and wanted to settle down there. It was terrible that a small village in Konoha became a big city that could accommodate 300,000 people. Konoha even trained more ninjas to maintain the order of the city. Chapter 33 I'm on the wrong track. After solving the problem of changing the gold, Chen Tian would naturally not let Jiraiya go. The more powerful fighting power, the better. If the Hokage was someone else, Chen Tian would not bother to care so much, and he would defect if he was unhappy. Wouldn't it be nice to join the Akatsuki group and officially debut from then on? But who made Minato the Hokage? And Naruto has been dead for a few months now, and Kushina's catastrophe is not far away. Although he has changed a lot of things, Chen Tian doesn't want to see even a 1 in 10,000 possibility. Jiraiya, Tsunade, Orochimaru, Minato. There are 4 cage level strongmen, and if Sarutobi Hiruzen is added, there are 5. After counting one by one with his fingers, Chen Tian finally relaxed completely. According to his estimation, Uchiha Madara is now dead, and even if Nagato and Uchiha Obito come to Konoha together, Konoha's current strength can teach them how to be human. Jiraiya remained indifferent, no matter what Chen Tian said, and he had no choice but to let Tsunade's strange power fist come out. Under this punch, Jiraiya surrendered on the spot and immediately agreed to return to Konoha with them. In order to take care of Shizune's speed, the group slowed down a little, but even so, it only took 3 days. Where is this? Have we gone the wrong way? Looking at the unfamiliar high-rise buildings in front of him, Jiraiya stuttered. Yes, this is the location of Konoha. While speaking, he looked around and confirmed that this was Konoha. Tsunade was not much better than Jiraiya, but because Chen Tian introduced her before, she could barely accept it. In fact, what she didn't know was that Chen Tian had been completely bragging before. In his heart, even if Konoha developed faster, it would take several years to achieve this level. But he still underestimated the labor capacity of ninjas. There is nothing that cannot be solved by a ninjutsu. If there is, then come another one. At first glance, Chen Tian even felt like he had returned to his previous life, and his heart was also very shocked. Jiraiya-sama, Tsunade-sama. Just then, 2 people walked out of a house that was more luxurious than the previous Hokage's office. Chen Tian and the others all knew these 2 people. They were the 10,000-year-old duo who guarded the gate of Konoha. My god, even you live so well. Jiraiya couldn't help it anymore and exclaimed on the spot. Hearing this, the 2 were stunned, and then they reacted, chuckled and said, this is because the 2 adults haven't been back for too long. Our place is considered a relatively poor place. A relatively poor place. A relatively poor place. A poor place. A place. A place. This sentence seemed to echo in Jiraiya's mind. This is considered a poor place. What will it be like inside? He wanted to ask more, but Tsunade's impatient temper couldn't wait, and she entered Konoha first. What's there to ask? Just go in and take a look yourself, won't you know? Looking at Tsunade's actions, Jiraiya said hello to the gatekeepers and followed them. In this way, the group officially entered the new Konoha. Along the way, they saw shops, smooth asphalt roads, and street lights standing at both ends. All of this made them very curious. After walking around for several hours, the few people, except Chen Tian, finally accepted the fact. Zio-shin, take us back to the Hokage building. After the excitement passed, Tsunade and Jiraiya found themselves embarrassed to find that they seemed to be lost in Konoha. They lost their way in Konoha, where they grew up. Then the 2 looked at each other secretly, and Tsunade said to Chen Tian, as if nothing had happened. I looked around in confusion. Chen Tian opened his mouth and said dejectedly, I'm lost too. Huh. Tsunade and Jiraiya opened their mouths at the same time, and even Zio-shin was confused. Didn't you know that Konoha was like this before? How did you get lost? Did you lie to us? Thinking about it, Tsunade and Jiraiya looked at Chen Tian with a hint of suspicion and unkindness. Hehe, I'll find a way now. With an awkward smile, Chen Tian jumped and stood on a 3-story building. Before he could shout, 4 or 5 Anbu suddenly appeared in front of him the next moment. No climbing in Konoha, you can only walk on the road. An Anbu wearing a fox mask and with only white hair on his head shouted. The next moment, the 2 of them saw each other's appearance. Kakashi? Chen Tian? Just by seeing the white hair, Chen Tian confirmed that it was Kakashi. At the same time, Kakashi also recognized Chen Tian. You came at the right time. We are lost. Take us to find brother Minato. He came to Kakashi with a flash body technique, and the appearance of the 2 brothers made Kakashi a little confused. Didn't you design Konoha? How could you get lost here? Talented. Just when he wanted to complain a few words, he saw Jiraiya and Tsunade the next moment. Tsunade-sama, Jiraiya-sama, I will take you to see Hokage-sama. After greeting the 2, Kakashi dispersed the other Anbu and led the way. He is now a small captain of the Anbu and has a certain status. Looking at Kakashi's attitude, Chen secretly remembered him in his heart. Today I returned to Konoha and got lost by accident. Kakashi not only scolded me, but also refused to show me the way. That would be fine, but he actually ran to show Tsunade and Jiraiya the way. I, Chen, will take revenge. After keeping this firmly in mind, Chen followed happily. In fact, he wanted to go home and sleep, but unfortunately he couldn't find his home. If he could do it again, he would definitely say, I used to live in a simple village, but I want to change. If you give me another chance, please build my home in the most conspicuous place. While muttering, several people followed Kakashi to the Hokage building. The current Hokage building is a real building. The small second floor before was not even worthy of carrying shoes. Wow, it is as high as 10 floors, and the floor-to-ceiling windows are shining. The reflected sunlight even makes them feel a little dazzling. It's amazing. Without caring to be amazed, several people and Kakashi came to the top floor, which is the Hokage's office. Looking at this door, Tsunade was overwhelmed with emotions. She had decided not to come back, but she didn't expect to be here again today. Moreover, after Sarutobi Hiruzen stepped down, Konoha changed so fast that she felt unfamiliar. Chen Tian and Jiraiya could understand Tsunade's feelings. No one urged her, and they all waited quietly. Chapter 34, Chunin Exam. After adjusting his mood a little, Chen pushed the door open and walked in without any hesitation after seeing Tsunade return to normal. Why should he be polite? His elder brother is inside. Zio-shin, you are back. Kushina almost missed you so much. Seeing Chen appearance, Minato smiled brightly. The next moment, the smile turned into surprise, staring blankly at the two people behind Chen. Tsunade. That's Tsunade, one of the three ninjas. She's back. As for the old pervert Jiraiya, he was temporarily ignored by his disciples because he came back by chance. Tsunade-sama, you are back. Minato's tone was very respectful, which showed his respect for Tsunade. You guys can talk later. Chen suddenly interrupted the conversation between the few people and said, tell me where my home is first. I will go home first. Before Minato could speak, he slapped his forehead and said, by the way, this is for you. I almost forgot. This is the information I got when I exchanged gold. After throwing the information to Minato, Chen went home after getting the location of his home. Not to mention the friendly conversation with Kushina. It is worth mentioning that Uzumaki Naruto has been in Kushina's belly for 3 months. After returning to his bedroom, Chen washed and relaxed and began to think about what to do next. The biggest thing next is the Night of the Ninetales, although it is not known whether it will happen again. However, with the current strength of Konoha, as long as it is not the scale of the Fourth War, it can deal with it, and it is not weak at all. So it seems that there is nothing for him to do next. There are still 17 years before the Fourth War. He only needs to improve his strength in these 17 years. In the blink of an eye, a week has passed, because after the war, all major countries have been recuperating. But Konoha has made such great progress during this period. This kind of thing can't be concealed at all. So Minato, Jiraiya, Tsunade and others decided to hold a Chunin exam in a month. At that time, all the 5 major ninja villages will be invited to come, and they will show off in front of them, so that they dare not dare to attack Konoha again. There were people who jumped out to oppose it, but with the support of Tsunade and Jiraiya, and the decentralization of Sarutobi Hiruzen, the 2 consultants were driven to farm. And because of the bounty on Chen, Shimura Danzo was officially dismissed from power, and became an ordinary civilian. If it weren't for him being the disciple of the 2nd generation Hokage, he would have been killed by Minato and Kushina. Dare to touch my brother, who gave you the courage? But these have nothing to do with Chen. He only knows that Minato actually asked him to take the Chunin exam today. Looking at the evaluation of the elite jonin in the system, Chen was a little amused. Isn't this asking him to beat up a child? Do you really think that every Chunin exam is the one that Naruto and his friends took? 2 Chiyuriki run all over the forest, and there is a cage level Orochimaru biting people everywhere. However, under Minato's strong suppression, Chen could only obey orders helplessly. It took more than 20 days for Chen to familiarize himself with the latest situation of Konoha. There were still 5 days left before the Chunin exam, and Chen Tian came to the gate of Konoha on purpose. The ninjas from other villages were about to arrive, and he wanted to see their expressions after seeing Konoha. It must be very interesting. The first to come was a Sand Shadow village. A jonin came with 3 genin. Chen Tian was very familiar with this jonin. It was Maki, but I don't know who the 3 genin are. I haven't seen them in the original book. I guess they are some extras. These people looked at Konoha today, and their eyes almost fell out. They even thought they had taken the wrong road, and were ready to return. If it weren't for the gatekeeper duo to stop them, Maki would have left with the 3 genin. Chen Tian didn't pay much attention to these 3 genin. He only knew that they were about 14 or 15 years old. After the Sand Shadow villages at Suchikage village, the person who came was Huangtu, the son of old Mananoki, who is also an elite jonin. This burly man actually gave Chen Tian a sense of danger, which made him look at him a few more times. That Suchikage village was much more generous than the Sandkage village, and a total of 9 genin came to participate in the exam. The expressions of these people, after seeing Konoha, were similar to those of the Sandkage village before. After that, it was all small villages that came. The Miskage village had already fallen into the hands of Obito, and had no time to come. If there was time to participate in the Chunin exam, it would be better to slaughter more of their own blood families. There is no need to say more about the Cloudkage village. The 4th Raikage has a violent temper. How could he come to Konoha casually? They haven't even come to Konoha to discuss the issue of war compensation, let alone the Chunin exam. After seeing the expressions of the people of the Sandkage village and that Suchikage village, Chen Tian went back to rest. This rest lasted for 5 days, and the Chunin exam officially began. After a long breakfast, Chen Tian came to the venue of the first exam. The first exam was a written exam, so it was all indoors. Bang! After pushing open the door and entering the examination room, Chen Tian found that there were more than 500 people looking at him. After a large look, he found that more than 300 people were from Konoha. The rest, except for 3 people from the Sand Shadow village and 9 people from the Earth Shadow village, were all from some unknown small ninja villages. So after just a glance, Chen Tian lost interest. He was too lazy to argue with these people, so he walked in and sat down, waiting for the test to begin. Who is this person? How can he be so arrogant? You are the last one to arrive. I must teach you a lesson in the next test. You are just a little brat. You are only 5 or 6 years old, and you come to the test on time. That's right, you come to the test at such a young age. You don't take us seriously. Chen Tian didn't expect that he would provoke the public anger like this. Looking at Chen Tian's appearance of 6 or 7 years old, these people all thought that Konoha looked down on them and arranged such a child to take the test. They were eager to wait for the second test to start so that they could teach this kid a lesson and let him know what a senior is. Chen Tian was too lazy to take these things to heart. Anyway, he didn't plan to let these people pass the final test. As long as he could deal with all these people in the second test, he wouldn't have to participate in the third test. I'm such a little genius. After praising himself, Chen Tian felt happy. When the Konoha genin heard what these people said, they just looked at them with pity and hurriedly distanced themselves from them. Although Chen Tian is young, his reputation in Konoha is almost catching up with the Hokage. They didn't want Chen Tian to bear a grudge against them. Who doesn't know that this guy has the strength of a jonin? What if he gets beaten? Such behavior made others a little puzzled, but they didn't take it seriously. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 35, Subterfuge, Sneak Attack. Not long after, the examiner of the first test, Nerishikaku, came and handed out a test paper to each person. There were 10 questions on it, and each question was worth 10 points. Only after answering 6 questions correctly could they advance to the next round of the test. You are not allowed to cheat in the test. 10 points will be deducted for each time you are caught cheating. After 5 times, you will be directly removed from the test. Now start answering the questions. Nerishikaku did not play tricks. He announced the rules in a proper manner and began the test. However, his eyes were mostly on Chen Tian, and he was too lazy to look at other people. The purpose of this test was to gather intelligence, and it happened that the Chunin who was arranged to come in was right next to Chen Tian. As long as you copy down his answers, you would pass, so Chen Tian was not in a hurry to do it, but instead looked at the others with interest. Number 45 cheated once, 10 points will be deducted. Number 107 cheated 3 times, 10 points will be deducted. Number 233 cheated 5 times, and you will be removed from the test with your teammates. The examiner's voice kept ringing, and Chen Tian shook his head again and again. It was a joke for him to take part in the Chunin exam with this level. And it was only now that Chen Tian realized that the others were in groups of 3, and it seemed that he was the only one in a group. This damn Minato, you didn't even tell me about this, you wait. After cursing fiercely in his heart, he calmed down. Looking at Chen Tian's idle appearance, Naruto was also a little confused. He had heard of Chen Tian's name many times, and he didn't believe that this kind of test could be difficult for Chen Tian. But the test time was half over, and he still didn't do it? Thinking about it from another perspective, Naruto really couldn't think of what means Chen Tian would use. Huh, you finally finished it. At this moment, the Chunin next to Chen Tian filled the test paper with all the correct answers. Looking at this Chunin, Chen Tian smiled, and his smile was a little perverted. The next moment, he stretched his waist, put his left hand on the test paper on the table, and the fingertips of his right hand accidentally touched the Chunin's test paper. Swish. In an instant, Chen Tian's blank test paper appeared on the Chunin's table, and the other party's test paper fell into his hand. No one noticed this except Naruto, not even the other examiners. Only the examiner who was arranged to come in had a confused look on his face, doubting his life. I did ask you to copy my answers when I came in, but you didn't even let go of my paper. Do you know how tiring it is to write such a paper? Naruto, the only one who knew what was going on, twitched his mouth. If he hadn't seen Minato use this ninjutsu, he would definitely not know what was going on. We are testing intelligence gathering ability, not testing stealing. Looking at the densely packed test paper in his hand, Chen Tian smiled triumphantly, changed his name casually, and put it down. He despised the others in his heart. It was really low for you to copy so hard. Before, he just used his original ninjutsu portable space. He put his left hand on his own test paper and put it in. His right hand accidentally touched the other person's test paper and put it away. Then he released it at the moment of putting it away. As long as the time is well controlled, no one can see it. Just like now, even the original owner of the paper was confused. After completing the substitution, Chen Tian lay on the table and began to sleep, too lazy to look at the anxious looks of others. Half an hour later, the first test was over, and nearly 200 people were eliminated because of cheating. This resulted in only more than 300 ninjas who originally participated in the test, out of more than 500. This is not the final number. After the examiners have read the test papers, those with scores less than 60 points will be eliminated. According to Chen Tian's estimation, it would be good to have 100 people left. But these have nothing to do with him. It would be better if all these people were eliminated, so he swaggered out of the examination room. But he didn't see that after he left, in an unknown small ninja village, a man about 14 or 15 years old with several hideous scars on his face stared at him and followed him out of the examination room. Chen Tian really didn't know the name of this ninja village because he was so young. Even the ninja leading the team was just a chunin, and no one would care about them at all. After leaving the examination room, Chen Tian wandered around alone. Walking and stopping along the way, he came to the number 4 training ground unknowingly. This was the beginning of his journey as a ninja. Maybe because of the Chunin exam, Might Guy was not here for the first time. Chen Tian was bored and was about to leave, but the moment he turned around, a hideous fire dragon came flying from behind. Earth escape, earth flow wall. Boom. Water escape, big explosion water wave. After blocking the fire dragon, Chen Tian did not even look at it and released the ninjutsu at the fastest speed. Not until the water rushed out like a waterfall did he have time to observe who was attacking him. Chen Tian understood in his heart at this sight that it was Kanjinsho's people who came to Konoha. There was a 3-petal white flower on the right sleeve of this person. Jiraiya told him that this was the symbol of Kanjin-sho. Chen Tian still remembered this scarred man. He was one of the people who participated in the Chunin exam before. Okay. Chen Tian laughed in anger, and his voice was full of murderous intent. You dare to come to Konoha, then you don't have to leave. Fire style, fire dragon bullet. Water style, water dragon bullet. Suddenly, 2 dragons, one of water and one of fire, circled and flew towards each other. Chen Tian himself used a body flash technique to temporarily disappear from the enemy's sight, and the Reikiri in his right hand quietly appeared, and the whole person rushed away. Seeing Chen Tian's reaction so quickly, the visitor immediately released the earth flow wall to defend. But under the impact of the 2 dragons of water and fire, the earth flow wall only lasted for a second before it shattered. But this 1 second gave him space to dodge, allowing him to use the body flash technique to avoid it. But the next second Chen Tian's figure suddenly appeared, and his blue right hand fiercely stabbed into the visitor's chest. Bang! Smoke rose, and the man's body suddenly disappeared. It was only a shadow clone who died. And this person has appeared behind Chen Tian, stabbing Chen Tian with a kunai in his hand. Thunder escape, earth walk. Chen Tian was well prepared, and the seal he had made in advance was released immediately. A flash of lightning passed by, and the person behind him stopped instantly. Chen Tian swung his right hand, and the lightning cut mercilessly on the nose of the person who came. The next moment, the person's body was separated, and he was deader than dead. Chapter 36, The Raging Morning Sky. Although Konoha has expanded several times, it is still a place dominated by ninjas. Therefore, places such as the training ground have all been preserved. In this way, it is convenient for the ninjas in the village to train and improve their strength smoothly. It is because of this that the ninja from the gold exchange dared to attack Chen Tian here. The battle had just been resolved, and Kakashi came here with several Anbu. Seeing Chen Tian standing here, as if nothing had happened, Kakashi was speechless. Why is it you who always gets into trouble? Kakashi has a lot of resentment towards Chen Tian. I wonder if Jiraiya's intimate paradise has been released. You have to cause some trouble every day, which delays me from appreciating Jiraiya's works. It's just that Chen Tian doesn't know what Kakashi is thinking. Otherwise he will definitely let him know why the flowers are so red. Hey, it's you again, Kakashi. Chen Tian smiled on the surface, but empty in his heart. It doesn't matter if it's this guy every time, but can you not be a step late every time? I have already solved the enemy. What do I need you for? What is the difference between you and the police of a certain country in the previous life? You always clean up the mess afterwards. After chatting for a few words, the two left separately, and Chen Tian returned home soon. After having a meal with Kushina, Chen Tian returned to his room. Minato had too many things to do recently, and he had to work overtime for a long time every day, so he didn't go home for dinner. After closing the bedroom door, Chen Tian thought about what happened today. He was sure that the mark was not mistaken. It was the mark of Kanjin-so. Obviously, this person sneaked into a small ninja village and came to Konoha specifically to assassinate him. In addition to this person, are there any other people? Are the other two companions of this person from Kanjin-so? You are entangled, right? Well, let's have some fun and see who can beat who. It just so happens that my strength needs to be improved. Chen Tian was completely scared by the pursuit again and again. Just some rats who dare not show up. Do they really think they are invincible? He also asked Jiraiya about the power of Kanjin-so and knew something about it. There are all kinds of people in the Kanjin-so, among which ninjas and samurai are the most numerous, and there are also very rare on Miyagis. The weakest of these people are almost genin, but the strong ones are enough to rival or even kill elite jonin. No one knows who the leader of Kanjin-so is, but they only know that it has existed for 1,000 years. No matter how turbulent the ninja world is, Kanjin-so has never perished. If it weren't for knowing the details of Black Zetsu, Chen Tian would have thought that this force was created by Black Zetsu. Death hunting order. Recalling Jiraiya's serious expression when he told this, Chen Tian's mouth flashed a cold smile. As long as someone dares to kill someone from Kanjin-so, it will be a fight to the death. According to Jiraiya, no matter who it is, even if they kill a dog of Kanjinso will chase and kill that person until he dies. Chenshin sneered at this. Why didn't these people jump so much when Ashirama Senju and Madara Uchiha were there? After going over the information he knew, Chenshin decided to leave Konoha after the Chunin exam was over. Then he destroyed all the gold exchange offices he could find and obtained the cards from them. It just so happened that he could only obtain the cards by killing the enemies now, and he was not worried about not having any enemies, but now they came to him. Tomorrow I will ask Jiraiya about the location of the gold exchange office he knows. Chen Tian murmured and pulled up the quilt and continued to sleep soundly. After sleeping until dawn, Chen Tian came to the entrance of the Forest of Death after eating the breakfast made by Kushina himself. He glanced around and found that there were only 106 ninjas left out of the more than 300 ninjas yesterday, that is, 35 groups and himself. He scratched his head in distress and he emptied his mind and stood there blankly. It's this kid, he's still a little brat, but he dared to take the test alone. We will teach him a lesson later. Hehe, let him know that the Chunin exam is not a ninja game for children. You are a little boring, but it's up to you. Among the 105 people, many of them stared at Chen Tian and showed hostility. Konoha organized the Chunin exam and sent a little kid to participate. Does that mean that they are only qualified to compete with Konoha's 6-year-old children? Who are they looking down on? Of course, some of the people from the Jinsho said this on purpose, hoping to muddy the waters and fish in troubled waters. I'm the chief examiner of the second exam, Shozo Akimichi. Those who are going to take the exam, please come up and sign the life and death agreement. Chenshin came to his senses only at this time. He had known all this for a long time, so he stepped forward and wrote his name. After everyone had signed, Shozo Akimichi began to announce the rules. There are 12 scrolls in the Forest of Death, all hidden in dangerous places. You have 5 days to find the scrolls and reach the central tower to pass. As soon as Akimichi Choza finished speaking, except for the Konoha ninja, almost everyone looked at Chenshin. One scroll can allow one team to pass, and at most there are only 12 teams. Now there are 36 teams here, too many monks and too little porridge. So every team is an enemy, and the weakest among them is Chenshin, who has only one person, and is the youngest. Some teams that do not have search ninjutsu have made up their minds to eliminate other teams, and then slowly look for them, or wait for others to find them, and then snatch them. Taking all these people's gazes into his eyes, Chenshin showed a disdainful smile. Even your team leader is not my opponent. You really don't know your place. Enter now. As soon as the words fell, several Chunins behind him opened the iron gate and let Chenshin and others enter. Everyone was assigned to a different entrance, and Chenshin was at the 44th. Ignoring the looks of those people, he swaggered in. TSK, the 44th entrance of the Death Forest. This is really. The more he thought about it, the more unlucky it was. Chenshin wanted to hang up the ninja who arranged him and beat him up. Kakashi, who was helping Minato organize documents in the Hokage's office, shuddered suddenly and felt a chill on his back. Kakashi, are you sick? The gentle voice dispelled the dead chill, and Minato looked at Kakashi with concern. Ah, it's okay, it's okay. Shaking his head, Kakashi once again buried himself in the pile of documents. Chapter 37, 3 Jonins, not panic at all. After entering the Forest of Death, Chen Tian found that he seemed to have no exploration ninjutsu at all. He had to rely on luck to find the scroll, and he was suddenly at a loss. He pulled his dark hair in distress and walked towards the central tower. Since he couldn't find it, he would wait for those who could find it. After robbing their scrolls, wouldn't he find it? However, it would take some time for these people to find the scrolls. He only needed to arrive within 1 day. There was no need to rush. Thinking of this, Chen Tian walked forward slowly, as if taking a walk, and looked at the surrounding environment from time to time. He had been in Konoha for almost a year, and this was his first time entering the Forest of Death. In another part of the Forest of Death, 3 genin from the Kusagakure village were discussing. Yesterday, the guy from Destruction went to find Chenshin, but he hasn't come back yet, and even his team can't participate in the second assessment. We told that guy not to act on his own, but he insisted on taking the credit for himself. Obviously, he died in Konoha. He should be dead. It's good that he died. One more death means more credit for us. I remember that the entrance to Chen Tian is number 44. Let's go find him before others get there first. In a few words, several people came to the conclusion and rushed towards the direction where Chen Tian was. Not far from them, a team from a small ninja village made the same statement and also headed towards Chen Tian. These two groups of ninja teams came here to kill Chen Tian, and each of them has the strength of a Jonin level. Although not as strong as the guy yesterday, they are not much worse. In addition to these two teams, there are also many teams from other villages that are also heading towards Chen Tian. In addition to teaching Chen Tian a lesson, they also want to eliminate other teams as soon as possible. Only the genin belonging to Konoha know the horror of Chen Tian, and their guiding Jonin also reminded them of it. So these people were very obedient in looking for the scroll and left the direction where Chen Tian was without leaving any trace. Chen Tian naturally didn't know this. He was already hungry after entering the death forest for a while. After getting a fat rabbit with a shuriken, he started to grill it on the spot. After a while, the golden oil stains on the rabbit meat were shining, which made people's appetites grow. Not bad, but the taste is a little light. Chen Tian bit the rabbit thigh happily and smiled with satisfaction. Hahaha, this kid is really here. Suddenly, 3 ninjas wearing Kusagakure forehead protectors appeared in front of Chen Tian. I took a quick glance and didn't see them. They were obviously some extras. There were 2 men and 1 woman. I ignored the 2 men directly, but the woman was a little interesting. Although her appearance was not amazing, she was also considered to be above average, mainly because of her figure, which was big where it should be big and small where it should be small. She exuded a wildness all over her body, which made people feel like conquering her. It's a pity that she came to kill me, so I could only destroy her with a cruel hand. After sighing, Chen Tian slowly raised his head and said, "Wait a minute, wait until I finish eating before you start." After saying that, he immediately lowered his head and chewed his delicious food, looking for death. Seeing Chen Tian's attitude, the 3 people were angry on the spot. "We are here to kill you. You should at least give us some reaction. Do you look down on us like this?" The leading man drew out a knife. The sharp cold light flashing on the knife made people's eyes sting a little. He should be a swordsmanship ninja like Hatake Tsukumo. The other man made hand seals with both hands, ready to release ninjutsu. Is he a ninjutsu type ninja? And the girl quietly retreated, obviously a supporting type of ninja. With just one glance, Chen Tian analyzed the situation of the 3 people. After a blank look, Chen Tian swallowed the rabbit meat in his mouth, feeling that he was not panicked at all. Then, when the 3 were ready to move, he gently uttered a word. Explode. Boom. 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 No. After seeing Chen Tian's mouth shape, the 3 hurriedly retreated, but it was too late. Explosions continued to sound, and Chen Tian continued to taste his delicious food slowly. After more than 10 seconds, the explosion stopped. Looking up, Chen Tian's surroundings had become a ruin, with holes left by the explosion of the detonating talisman everywhere. The 3 ninjas had disappeared, and only a few shining cards were left on the ruins. How could Chen Tian not prepare if he knew that someone had bad intentions towards him? Around him, tens of thousands of detonating talismans were buried underground in various directions. Just now, only 1 detonating talisman was detonated. As early as yesterday after the assassination, Chen Tian took out all his assets and spent 1 billion to buy detonating talismans. He emptied all the detonating talismans in Chen Tian's family, who is only 1 year old now. After slowly finishing the rabbit meat and wiping his mouth casually, Chen Tian stood up and began to pick up the cards. The purple card adds 100 points to strength. Do you want to fuse it? The blue card adds 100 points to chakra. Do you want to fuse it? The purple card is Earth Escape technique. Do you want to fuse it? The purple card is Perception Ninjutsu, Earth Flow Tremor technique. Do you want to fuse it? As expected of 3 Jonin, they are so powerful. He smiled with satisfaction and chose to fuse immediately. The long lost warm current appeared again, flowing obediently in Chen Tian's body, strengthening his body bit by bit. After 2 seconds, this comfortable feeling disappeared, and Chen Tian knew that the fusion was over. He immediately opened the system panel. Host, Chen Tian. Talent, Space Talent LV3. Physical skills, Konoha Great Cyclone LV4. Full level limited, Ninjutsu, Portable Space LV1, Great Fireball Jutsu LV6, Earth Flow Wall Jutsu LV5, Earth Dragon Bullet Jutsu LV5, Reikiri LV4, Great Explosion Water Wave LV8, Water Array Wall LV5, Water Dragon Bullet LV5, Body Instant Jutsu LV7, Tail Beast Ball LV2, Earth Flow Wall LV4, Thunder Tunshiku LV5, Tunshiku Jutsu LV4, Earthflow Tremor Jutsu LV8. Full level limited, Swordsmanship, Secret Book, Draw the Sword LV7, Secret Book, Swallow Return LV3, Medical Ninjutsu, Palm Immortal Jutsu, Healing Jutsu, Small Injury Extraction Jutsu, Sealing Jutsu, Omitted. Physique, Thousand Hands Physique Physical Fitness, Chunin. Can fight Chunin without chakra. Overall combat strength, Elite Jonin. Although the strength has increased significantly, the evaluation has not been raised because of the decline in other aspects, and the overall combat strength is still an Elite Jonin. Chen Tian didn't care about these. Above the Elite Jonin was the Quasi Shadow, and above the Quasi Shadow was the Shadow. There was still a long way to go. On the contrary, he liked the two ninjutsu very much. Burying underground could increase his fighting style. The earth flow tremor technique surprised him the most. This ninjutsu could sense people and animals within a radius of 3 kilometers through the vibration of the ground. This made up for one of his shortcomings and made him more comprehensive. After doing all this, Chen Tian picked up the knife left by the swordsman, and after a light wipe, a wound was left on his finger. Good knife. Just keep it for yourself. Looking at the swordsmanship on the system panel, Chen Tian was more satisfied. Earthflow Tremor Technique. After putting away the knife, Chen Tian released the perception ninjutsu, and the next moment he found that there were ninjas coming around him. There was a small team, and there were 3 teams at most. Looking at the surrounding environment, Chen Tian murmured, "It seems that I have to change places. It's hard to ambush people here." Chapter 38, Killing 3 Jonin instantly. Shortly after Chen Tian left, a group of 3 genin appeared here. They should have experienced a battle. Feel where the people are. After glancing at the messy scene, the 3 came to a conclusion. After a moment, an ordinary little fat man said, "Chen Tian has left here, and the other 3 idiots are dead. Chase." The sturdy man in the lead chuckled, and took the lead to chase. The little fat man and the other genin looked at each other and followed. Although the 3 idiots died at the hands of Chen Tian, they were not worried at all. The traces around them have already told it very clearly. They died on the detonating talisman without even moving their hands. It was obviously ambushed. As long as they are careful not to be ambushed as well, it will not be a problem to capture Chen Tian. Speaking of which, the 3 of them are very curious about the organization. It is obvious that the people in it have no feelings at all, and some even have hatred for each other. But as long as someone is killed, a desperate hunting order will be issued. It is simply funny. But for the sake of credit, they don't bother to care so much, as long as the task is completed. After they left, people continued to come, but after seeing the ruins, they all left. When they met on the road, a big battle would break out. Some people fled and some were eliminated. The cruelty of the Chunin exam had begun to show. After leaving the original place, Chen Tian did not stay, but rushed to the central tower at his fastest speed. He did not want to continue playing ninja games with these genin. The real thing was to destroy the gold exchange as soon as possible. In the blink of an eye, Chen Tian arrived in front of the central tower in just 2 hours. After looking around, he was satisfied, so he buried the detonating talismans he had dug out before, and added a lot. In a short while, the detonating talismans of varying numbers were distributed within a range of 300 meters around the entrance of the central tower. These detonating talismans completely blocked the entrance. No one could enter without Chen Tian's consent. After this period of fighting, Chen Tian liked the detonating talisman more and more. He didn't even have to fight himself to kill the enemy. It was so cool. After doing all this, he found a place to sleep, but he still kept alert. No one knew if there were any ninjas from the Jinso among the remaining ninjas, so they had to be careful. After a while, 3 ninjas came running from the road where he came. Chen Tian opened his eyes slightly and glanced at the 3 people, and he knew what was going on. They came from the direction he came from, and they were so fast. They were obviously coming for him. The only ninjas who gave up the scroll for him in this examination room were probably the ninjas from the Jinso. After taking a look at the forehead protectors on their foreheads, Chen Tian was shocked to find that he didn't know which ninja village this was. It was really strange. Be careful, there must be detonating talismans around. The strong man in the lead immediately realized that something was wrong when he saw Chen Tian sleeping casually from a distance. The 3 stopped 500 meters away and began to sense, but the next moment their faces became ugly. A radius of 300 meters. How many detonating tags are needed? If they could hit this guy, the 3 of them would have to let this loser know why the flowers are so red. But the next moment they were in trouble. The distance of 300 meters was not something their ninjutsu could reach. At least a cage level master would have to try it. They wanted to go around, but there was no place to put their feet in the dense detonating tags. What should we do now? We can't reach him? I don't know either. We can't fool that kid. He's not a fool. As he said that, the fat man and another person cast their eyes on the sturdy man at the same time, waiting for him to make a decision. The sturdy man sat down and said, "Wait, there's no way. Our chakra is not enough for us to break in. You don't want to get in front of him and have no chakra, right? Various ninjutsu bombings can completely solve these detonating tags, but the chakra of the 3 of them doesn't support that. After each of them releases 4 or 5 ninjutsu, how can they fight in front of Chen Tian? What's the difference between that and sending someone to his door?" But they wanted to wait, but Chen Tian didn't want to let them go. The first time he saw these 3 people, Chen Tian had the will to kill them. All the people in the gold exchange must die. After leaving a full level clone in the original place, he escaped into the ground and began to slowly move behind the 3 people. The full level clone technique is not easy to detect, and with a distance of 300 meters, even if the 3 people kept staring, they didn't notice that Chen Tian had disappeared. It took a full 5 minutes for Chen Tian to reach the forest behind the 3 people. Water escape, great explosion water wave, lightning escape, ground walk. After a short rest, Chen Tian's hands quickly formed seals like a phantom, and the attack was a combination of ninjutsu. When the 3 people found out, the water flow had already reached them, and the next moment lightning and thunder followed. These lightning and thunder did not cause much damage to them, but they could control them for a moment. Just as the 3 people were twitching, Chen Tian's subsequent attack followed again. Water style, water dragon bullet. Fire style, fire dragon bullet. In an instant, 2 dragons of water and fire came out one after another, crashing into the 3 people without any mercy. Boom boom. The 2 dragons suddenly fell to the ground, knocking open a large pit of more than 10 meters, and the pit was full of burn marks. Perhaps because he was a descendant of the dragon in his previous life, Chen Tian liked to use this dragon-shaped ninjutsu very much. Since he learned these 2 ninjutsu, he would use them in every battle. After the aftermath passed, only the strong man was left in the original 3-person team, and the remaining 2 died at the same time. Huff, ha, ha. Panting heavily, the strong man used the water array wall at the moment when the 2 dragons came and barely survived. But even so, he was seriously injured. Stop. I want to quit the assessment. Seeing that Chen Tian was still going to make seals, the strong man immediately couldn't sit still. A cruel smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Chen Tian's hands did not slow down at all. He said leisurely, "If you want to kill me, come and kill me. If you fail, do you still want to go back alive?" Hearing this, the sturdy man's face suddenly turned pale. Since Chen Tian knew it, there was absolutely no possibility of letting him go. Under the danger of death, this man also exploded. The speed of his hands forming seals almost caught up with Chen Tian, and a residual shadow floated. In fact, if his legs were not injured, and he could not move, he would have run away long ago. Who would be stupid enough to fight with others? Fire escape, Heohuo annihilation. The sturdy man was about to make a move, but it was too late. Not to mention that Chen Tian had formed seals longer than him, and his speed was faster than him. What could he compare with? Earth escape, Earth dragon bullet. It was exactly the same as before, but the yellow dragon of a different color rushed over like a wild horse. Boom. After a period of shaking, the world once again returned to peace. The broken body of the sturdy man fell to the ground, and it was almost impossible to see his human appearance. Chen Tian shook his head and said with some disdain, "Sure enough, the water dragon bullet and the fire dragon bullet are better, and they won't leave corpses. This earth dragon bullet is too miserable. The water dragon bullet can wash away the corpse, the fire dragon bullet can completely burn it, and the earth dragon bullet will leave nothing but meat paste after hitting it. Disgusting." However, Chen Tian did not deal with the battlefield, but hurried to pick up the cards. The purple card is fire release, great fire extinguishment. Do you want to fuse it? The purple card is speed plus 100. Do you want to fuse it? The purple card is multiple shadow clone technique. Do you want to fuse it? The blue card is chakra plus 100. Do you want to fuse it? Another series of purple and blue cards. Chen Tian chose to fuse them all without saying a word. Chen Tian found that the level of the cards dropped after killing the Jonin was very high, which made him lose interest in those Genin and Chunin. After this fusion, his physical fitness reached the elite Chunin, but the comprehensive evaluation did not change. This made him more or less depressed. Chapter 39 Blocking the door. After picking up the cards, Chen Tian found a wooden board, engraved the words 300 meters of detonation tags on it, and inserted the board next to the corpse. Then he moved away from the corpse, and found a place to recover his chakra. Although the previous battle ended very quickly, almost instantly, he used a lot of ninjutsu. First, the clone technique and the earth escape technique, then the big explosion water rush wave and the three dragons. Except for the first two, the weakest of the last four is also B-level ninjutsu, or A level, which consumes a lot of chakra. Half a day passed like this, the sun was setting in the west, and a sunset was cast. Finally, a team came to the central tower. This was a team from the Sand Shadow village. They did not participate in much fighting. They came here quickly, after finding the scroll with powerful exploration ninjutsu. The three saw the corpse from a long distance and became alert. When they got closer, they saw the sign set by Chen Tian, and were at a loss. But the corpse on the ground told them that what was written on the sign was absolutely true. While the three were hesitating, a calm voice sounded from behind. "Since you are here, you must have the scroll. Just hand it over." The voice was behind the three people, and they jumped up on the spot and exclaimed, Who? After the three people were far away, they saw Chen Tian's appearance. But no one dared to underestimate him at this time. Who else could appear behind them quietly? Although they were alert, they didn't want to hand over the scroll they had worked so hard to get. After seeing what they meant, Chen Tian pointed at their feet and said, "You are all within the range of the detonating talisman now. If you don't hand it over, I will detonate it." Hearing this, the three looked down, and their faces turned pale. One of the girls said, "I checked. He is telling the truth. Throw out the scroll and I will let you out." Chen Tian had no intention of killing the ninjas outside the gold exchange. They were all his own people in the future 4 wars, and one more was a better one. The other party looked at each other and threw out the scroll obediently. After picking up the scroll, Chen Tian performed a nearly perfect instant body technique and appeared behind the three people before they could react. Bang, bang, bang. 3 consecutive hand knives fell, and the 3 Sand Shadow village genin fainted gorgeously. The 3 people were dragged to the big tree within the range of the detonating talisman. The men were stripped naked and hung on the tree, and the women were directly hung on the tree. Each of them was hung upside down. Because the river crab god was too powerful, Chen Tian did not dare to act rashly, so the men were left with underwear. After dealing with the 3 people, Chen Tian released a shadow clone to go hunting, and he returned to the original place leisurely. After a while, the shadow clone came back with a pheasant, killed the chicken, plucked the feathers, cleaned the internal organs, and grilled it. After the one-stop operation, Chen Tian, who was full and satisfied, walked slowly into the central tower to rest. If you don't take the initiative to open the scroll, you won't pass the test, and Chen Tian can continue to block the door. Several Jonin examiners in the tower were also very helpless when they saw this situation, but they had no choice. What if they went up to reason with Chen Tian and got beaten? They all saw Chen Tian's strength, but they couldn't beat him. Report it to the Hokage-sama, let this kid continue, and these candidates will be wiped out. One of the Jonin examiners gritted his teeth, and stomped his feet, and made up his mind. When he was about to leave to report, he saw a cute little face appear in front of him, but the voice made him feel cold all over. There are detonating tags everywhere outside, and you will be blown to pieces if you go out. After saying this leisurely, Chen Tian returned to his resting place again, and began to sleep soundly. He still wanted to finish the Chunin examination in one go. How could he let them interrupt it? What should I do? The Jonin asked others helplessly. It doesn't matter whether you have strength or not. If it were someone else, even if he had the strength of Chen Tian, he would definitely not indulge him. But this guy's background is too big, and he can't afford to offend him at all. Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru are the three ninjas of Konoha. Minato Namikaze is the Hokage, and Kushina Uzumaki is the Ninetales Jinchuriki. It's okay for others, but Tsunade and Kushina don't care so much. If you dare to mess with my kids, I will beat you. But no one can control these two people. In addition to these, if he dares to touch Chen Tian, the villagers of Konoha will definitely make him commit seppuku. Chen Tian is the one who reformed Konoha. Almost everyone remembers his kindness. By then, it is estimated that even the Hokage will not be able to protect him. Thinking of this, the Jonin felt sad. Bang, bang. The next moment, he heard several familiar voices, and when he turned around, he was stunned. The four ninjas, except him, had fainted. They knocked each other out. If you faint, take me with you. He looked at his palm with tears in his eyes, gritted his teeth, stomped his feet, and chopped his neck viciously. The next moment, with a bang, the senior ninja used his behavior to protest silently. You can threaten my body, but my spirit will never yield. Chen Tian, who was not asleep yet, was stunned and almost popped his eyes out. Do you really want to do this? I asked you, do you really want to? Unfortunately, no one could answer his question. The next morning, Chen Tian woke up. When he got up, he found that the five ninjas who had fainted had changed to a comfortable position, and there was a roasted rabbit next to him. Thank you. After thanking him, Chen Tian's mouth twitched when he saw the five people had no reaction. This guy's pretending to be pretty good. Isn't he afraid that he will fall asleep in a while? But he didn't expose it, and he ate breakfast and went to guard the door. Seeing Chen Tian leave, the five people all showed a smile. For Chen Tian, they, or no one in Konoha, don't like him, except those ambitious people. To be frank, Chen Tian's contribution to Konoha is not much less than that of the first generation, and he is so cute and a polite boy. Chen Tian guarded the gate for 3 days. After grabbing all 12 scrolls, he dug out the detonating talisman, and ended the second Chunin exam 1 day ahead of schedule. During this period, it was not that no one wanted to resist, but they all went to swing with the 3 Sand Shadow Village genin. Only the Konoha genin could keep his clothes, but he did not escape the fate of swinging. When Chen Tian finished the exam, the outside of the central tower was white and looked very dazzling. The 5 miserable examiners also slept for 3 days. They could only go out hunting after Chen Tian fell asleep to get some food for themselves. Chen Tian was embarrassed and decided to treat these 5 people to a big meal after the exam. In this way, this Chunin exam ended in an unprecedented strange posture. When Minato and others knew about this situation, they were dumbfounded and said they didn't believe it. In the end, the facts slapped them in the face. Chen Tian returned home happily and enjoyed Kushina's cooking. But Minato was in a dilemma. He had invited the daimyo and the 4th generation Sand Shadow Rosa to visit the 3rd round of the Chunin exam. But now there is only one person. What's the point of visiting? In desperation, he could only choose 11 people from the eliminated genin to participate in the 3rd round of the exam with Chen Tian. But this was righteously rejected by Chen Tian. He said that these people had been eliminated by him and were not qualified to participate in the exam with him. What a joke. I spent so much effort to end it early, and you still want me to participate? You must be dreaming. Minato was just about to suppress it by force, but who knew that Chen Tian actually went to Kushina to tell a tale, and Minato was suppressed by Kushina by force. In the end, he could only choose another person to replace Chen Tian, and directly gave Chen Tian the title of Chunin. Chapter 40, 7th birthday, no show. Originally, Chen Tian didn't care about the title of Chunin and Jonin, but when he thought about how powerful Konoha's genin would be in the future, he rejected Minato's appointment. And he said righteously that the cage level strongman was just like that, and the strongest in Konoha would always be genin. For this reason, he also wanted to become a glorious genin, and forget about Chunin. Minato was stunned, and couldn't understand Chen Tian's brain circuit at all. As far as he knew, wasn't it easy for a cage level strongman to kill hundreds of genin in seconds? Namikaze Minato, a cage level strongman, once killed 50 jonin in one go. When did Konoha's genin become so awesome that they even looked down on cage level strongmen? Why didn't he, the Hokage, know about this at all? Because of this incident, Chen Tian's little fans later said that they wanted to be genin. As a result, a group of powerful genin, including Naruto and Sasuke, appeared in Konoha. The major ninja villages ordered that they could give up their missions when they encountered Konoha genin, and they would not be punished. Of course, these are all later stories. Anyway, after Chen Tian rejected Minato, he was still a Konoha genin. Chen Tian's Chunin exam was over for the time being, but other contestants remembered him deeply and went back to their respective ninja villages to spread his deeds crazily. However, Chen Tian didn't know these things. He only knew that, while others were still struggling to take the exam, he was happily celebrating his birthday at home. This day happened to be Chen Tian's birthday, and he was already 7 years old. Minato rarely took time out to celebrate Chen Tian's birthday, and invited Kakashi and Might Guy, who had the best relationship with Chen Tian. In addition to them, there were Tsunade, Jiraiya, and Orochimaru. This made Chen Tian sigh that he had no face at all, and there were only a few people. After a lively birthday party, it was naturally the exciting part of opening gifts. The first one was naturally Kushina's. Nothing special, just an ordinary scabbard. Obviously, he saw that the scabbard of his new sword was blown up, so he prepared it specially. Although it was not expensive, Chen Tian liked it very much. If we really want to talk about expensive things, there is nothing that Konoha has that he can't get. What's expensive? The second one is Minato's gift, which contains the Flying Thunder God scroll that Chen Tian covets. I didn't pick it up before, and there will be no chance in the future. I can't kill Minato, so I can only practice by myself. Fortunately, my spatial talent is good, and this gift is also very good. The gifts after that are a bit weird, which makes Chen Tian's mouth twitch and almost cramp. Might Guy's gift is a green tights, his most proud work, which makes Chen Tian say that he can't appreciate it. Kakashi and Jiraiya's gifts are both in Timid Paradise, but one is a collector's edition and the other is a special signed edition. This thing is indeed the most precious and proud thing for Kakashi and Jiraiya. The fact that they are willing to give it away shows how good their relationship with Chen Tian is. So Chen Tian could only accept their kindness with pain, and then use the gift to pad the corner of the table. Tsunade's gift is much simpler and more direct, a scroll for practicing super strength, which makes Chen Tian very happy. But what shocked him the most was Orochimaru's gift. It wasn't a snake or something like that, but 50% of the income from all his inventions. This was incredible. You have to know that the development of Konoha now basically depends on Orochimaru, and his income is even more than that of the entire Konoha. Even if it's 50%, Chen Tian still has several billion a year, which is enough to kill people with money. It just so happened that Chen Tian had spent all his savings before, and now he is not afraid of having no money to spend. Let's not talk about anything else, just go buy tens of thousands of detonating tags to play with. After his birthday, Chen Tian was free, practicing his super strength and Flying Thunder God every day, and there was nothing else to do. A month later, the Chunin exam was completely over, and Chen Tian also learned super strength, although it was just the beginning. In the system panel, there was an additional wording of super strength LV1. But Flying Thunder God is not that easy, and he is still groping, and can't master it for the time being. After the people from other villages left, he couldn't bear it anymore, and after saying goodbye to Minato, he left Konoha. The people from the gold exchange came to Konoha to kill him, so why not attack them? After leaving Konoha, he did not act blindly, but took out the map that he had drawn before asking Jiraiya and others. There were more than 100 locations of gold exchange offices marked on it, all of which Jiraiya and others knew over the years. Among them, there were gold exchange offices in various countries. Although there was no headquarters for them, Chen Tian was ready to catch them all in one fell swoop. Minato, Jiraiya, Orochimaru and others wanted to help, but they were all rejected by Chen Tian. He naturally had to kill his own enemies, not to mention that he could get cards. Chen Tian didn't want to find a teammate who would steal heads for himself. The first target was in the city of the Land of Fire. After putting away the map, Chen Tian started to hurry. But he didn't expect that before he started, the people from the gold exchange had already blocked him on the road. All the people in Konoha before died, and they didn't know the specific reason, and they thought it was Konoha who took action. So the force that came to rob Chen Tian was not strong, just 3 ordinary jonin with 9 tunins. Boy, you should feel honored to have us take action in person. SB. Cursing inwardly, Chen Tian was too lazy to argue with the other party. He would rather take action than talk nonsense. When the other party was speaking harshly, he had already summoned 3 shadow clones, and the water dragon bomb, earth dragon bomb and fire dragon bomb were used to greet him. The main body used the more powerful great fire extinguishing, and he exerted the power of a team of jonin alone. Young people have no martial ethics. Seeing Chen Tian take action without saying a word, the 12 people on the other side suddenly became a little flustered. However, jonin is still a jonin after all, and with the combined efforts of the 3 people, they resisted Chen Tian's attack. After the ninjutsu such as the earth flow wall and the water flow wall were withdrawn, 3 miniature tailed beast balls were facing them. Because the chakra was used up, Chen Tian's 3 shadow clones disappeared at the same time. But he didn't care at all. Even the miniature tailed beast balls were not so easy to resist. Otherwise, why would the Jinkriki be called a war weapon? Boom. 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 Explosions rang out one after another. Because of their carelessness, they were bombarded by Chen Tian's continuous attacks. The 12 ninjas could only defend themselves, and were completely unable to resist. Under the macro-tailed beast Jade, 9 Chunins died on the spot without even struggling. On the contrary, the 3 Jonins were more skilled, and each used their own methods to survive. But before they could come to their senses, Chen Tian's figure had already appeared in front of them, and the Reikiri in his hand whizzed past, and 2 heads fell directly to the ground. How is it possible? You are not a Jinkriki, why can you release the tailed beast Jade? The remaining jonin was probably the leader of these people, and he actually dodged Chen Tian's attacks twice in a row. However, he was still surprised by the tailed beast Jade, and had not yet come to his senses. It can be seen that this incident had a great impact on him. Chen Tian curled his lips. Can't you say it in another way? Everyone who saw him release the tailed beast Jade has to say it once. Boring. Having said that, Chen Tian did not relax his attack at all. When this jonin was dodging Reikiri, he had already connected with a new attack. Super Power Punch. Chakra flowed in his right hand, and while this jonin had not yet stood firm, he punched him fiercely on the head. Bang. Just like a watermelon exploding, the jonin's head also exploded. This is the effect of the first move. In order to avoid the initial attack, they could only run around passively until they were all killed by Chen Tian. However, all this is based on the fact that Chen Tian's strength is stronger than Th's. Otherwise, even if he had the first move, it would be useless. Chen Tian was still very satisfied with his own results. Now that the enemies are all dead, it's time to harvest the cards. Chapter 41 The Unforeseen Future. He walked forward quickly, picked up the card, and then took a few steps away before he began to check the card. Although he didn't mind killing people, he didn't like such scenes. Blue card adds 100 chakras. Do you want to fuse? Blue card adds 10 physiques. Do you want to fuse? Blue card is fire escape. Sushoku technique. Do you want to fuse? 8 blue cards in a row were dropped by those tunins. After fusing these blue cards, the remaining 4 purple cards are the highlight. Purple card adds 1000 chakras. Do you want to fuse? Purple card adds 100 physiques. Do you want to fuse? Purple card is earth escape, light and heavy rock technique. Do you want to fuse? Purple card is secret technique, honeycomb nesting technique. Do you want to fuse? The first 3 can be seen at a glance. They must be good stuff. So Chen Tian clicked on the specific information of honeycomb nesting technique. Honeycomb nesting technique. You can transform your body into a honeycomb for bees to live in, so as to control the actions of the bees. Looking at this information, Chen Tian shuddered. Isn't this the secret method of the bee controlling family that is hostile to the Aburame clan? Thinking of his body being hollowed out and full of bees crawling around, Chen Tian felt his stomach begin to roll, and he was nauseous. Then he shook his head very firmly and ordered, integrate everything except the honeycomb nesting technique. This ninjutsu is eliminated for me. As Chen Tian's order was issued, the card representing the honeycomb nesting technique in his hand began to become transparent and finally shattered into a pile of powder, completely losing its effect. After that, the remaining 3 purple cards were integrated into it, further strengthening his strength. Now his strength has almost reached the edge of the quasi-shadow level. Although his chakra is not much, it is almost equivalent to Takakishi's. Glancing at the system panel, Chen Tian continued to go to the city of the far country in a happy mood. These people in the gold exchange are all good people. Without them, I can't improve my strength so quickly. Pa. A slap on his forehead, Chen Tian felt like a fool. The old man, the third Tsuchika Jinoki, could fly with the super light and heavy rock technique. Although he only mastered the super light and heavy rock technique, he must be able to fly. He did it as soon as he said it. The seals were completed in the blink of an eye, and Chen Tian's body floated up. Just like climbing a tree and stepping on water, he fell several times because of his lack of skill. It took almost an hour for Chen Tian to completely master the flying skills and fly in the blue sky. We still have to find a way to get the super light and heavy rock technique. His current flying speed is the speed of a Jonin on the road, and the flying height cannot exceed 100 meters. The most important thing is that the consumption of chakra is still quite a lot. He can only fly for 4 hours before his chakra is exhausted. After experiencing the joy of flying, the city of the Land of Fire appeared in front of Chen Tian. After entering the city and eating something casually, he opened a room and began to restore his chakra. You can go to the gold exchange at any time, but you can never go when you don't have chakra. Unfortunately, Chen Tian didn't know that when he was flying around, a group of people from the gold exchange were waiting for him on his way forward, but he was bypassed. I don't know what their expressions would be when they learned that the gold exchange here was destroyed. When Chen Tian appeared in the city of the fire country, the ninjas who participated in the Chunin exam had already returned to their respective villages. They didn't even go home, and everyone rushed into the office of their own shadow without stopping. In the more than 1 month in Konoha, what they saw and heard completely refreshed their cognition. Lord Tsuchika, this time I went to Konoha, I saw a lot of unheard of things. We must trade with Konoha. Pushing open the door of that Tsuchika's office, Huang Tu's deep voice rang out. Anoki looked at his son's anxious look and frowned, and scolded. Why are you in such a hurry? Speak slowly. After a whole day of discussion, Huang Tu told everything he saw and heard without any mistakes, which made the old man Anoki couldn't believe it for a while. But he knew his son's honest character, and these things must be true. After reacting, they hurriedly opened the elders meeting and sent representatives to Konoha to discuss trade. Not to mention the Sand Shadow village, the 4th Kazakage Rosa was in Konoha watching the Chunin examination, and he just stayed in Konoha and insisted on trade. As time went by, the entire ninja world knew about the changes in Konoha, and there were countless merchants and ninjas coming every day. This made Minato very worried, and he worked overtime until he had no time to sleep at night. But watching the money flying to Konoha like snowflakes, he was very happy. It can be said that he was in pain and happy. Fortunately, Sarutobi Hiruzen watched Konoha grow day by day, put aside his idea of seizing power, and took the initiative to help Minato share some of the burden, so he supported it. Only the Mist Shadow village did not react after receiving this news. While Obito controlled Yagura to slaughter the Blood family, he contacted Shimura Danzo. Although he became a civilian, Danzo knew a lot of news. In order to kill Minato and Kushina, he told Obito the news of Kushina's pregnancy and childbirth, and asked him to be prepared. Thinking of Minato and Kushina, Obito still had a little hesitation, but the voice and smile of Irano Rin in his mind made him determined. However, he didn't know that Chen Tian, who was originally prepared to make him turn over a new leaf, had sentenced him to death because he saw him on the night of the nine-tailed fox. These are all future events, let's not talk about them for now. At this time, in Miyaboki Mountain, one of the 3 holy places, the great toad sage woke up. Variables, I can't see what the future will be like. The huge body of the great toad sage trembled a little, and his old face was full of shock and worry. The few Kasaku sage and Shima sage who were waiting beside him looked at each other, their eyes full of disbelief. Who is the great toad sage? That is the supreme sage who can see through the future. Now he can't see the future because of a variable. How is this possible? But after seeing the expression of the great toad sage, they all fell silent. Facts speak louder than words. What followed was the worry about the future of Miyaboki Mountain. They use the ability of the great toad sage to see through the future, and they become the summoning beasts of the strong in every great era. So they have existed until now. Just like the 6 paths sage 1,000 years ago, the current Jiraiya, and the future Uzumaki Naruto. These are all specially selected by them to ensure that there are strong people protecting Miyaboki Mountain in every era. But in the future, not only Miyaboki Mountain, but also the other 2 holy places have more or less made some movements. Not long after, a portrait of a back figure standing with a knife in a sea of blood and corpses flowed out from the 3 holy places. In this painting, there is a blood moon in the sky, and the man's black hair has been dyed red with blood, standing proudly in the sea of blood and corpses. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 40 to the first. After a day's rest, Chen Tian left the hotel, ate something casually, and took out the map in his hand. 1 kilometer west of the city? That's right, it's impossible to be in the far country's capital, otherwise what is hidden? He put the map back into his personal space, carried the long sword he bought yesterday, and walked out of the city. This longsword is not a good thing, and it can't be compared with the white fang broken blade in Kakishi's hand, but he used it well, so he bought it. He has already learned 2 powerful sword techniques, so there is no reason not to use such a cool thing. After a while, Chen Tian arrived at the destination. Looking at the lonely toilet in the wilderness, he didn't know how to complain. There is not even a half-person figure here. Anyone with a normal brain can find it, right? Just about to leave, he thought about it and stopped. Although it's cool to carry a long sword, it's not easy to sneak attack. He took off the long sword and put it into the personal space, patted the spotless royal robe, and Chen Tian took another step. Forget about hiding your identity, because you've seen through it before, and he's going to use his identity to beat the gold exchange. When he came to the toilet, Chen Tian didn't go in right away, but quickly formed seals with his hands. Earthflow tremor technique. 1, 2, 10, 20, 28 people. They shouldn't have noticed me, and they are not at the entrance. Sensing the slight tremor of the ground, he instantly got a clear picture of the situation in the gold exchange. The opponent's strength was not strong. There was only 1 Jonin, and the rest were Chunins and Genins, who were not dangerous to him. Crack. This time, he pushed open the wooden board behind the toilet, and walked in openly. Although he was a little curious about the weakness of this gold exchange, he just destroyed it. Hello, everyone. The moment he entered the door, all 28 people in the gold exchange looked at Chen Tian. He showed a pure and sunny smile, looking very cute. Haha, it's really a case of searching for a needle in a haystack, but it's easy to get it. 100 million just walked in my face. He's mine. Whoever dares to snatch it from me, I'll kill you. Without the slightest bit of defense, without the slightest bit of worry, you just appeared in front of me. Chen Tian's name had spread all over the gold exchange long ago, and almost everyone had seen his portrait and recognized him instantly. However, these people actually quarreled over Chen Tian and didn't take him seriously at all. Alas. Sighing helplessly, Chen Tian's little face was full of doubts and asked, "You guys fight among yourselves first. Aren't you afraid that I'll take advantage of you?" Ha 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 ha. Kid, are you kidding? I'm a chunin. Even if I'm seriously injured, I can slap you to death with one slap. A pockmarked chunin wearing a sexy purple kimono heard Chen Tian's words and laughed so hard that he almost couldn't straighten his waist. Others also stopped and looked at him with an idiotic look. The bounty order says that Chen Tian has killed chunin, but his appearance is too deceptive, so these people selectively ignore his strength. This is what confuses Chen Tian the most. Everyone in the Naruto world seems to have a mysterious confidence. Like an ordinary person, Kado dares to criticize the elite Jonin Momochi's abuser. His abuser is confident that he can kill Kakashi. There are almost countless such things, but these people are just cuckolds and then die miserably. It is very likely that this is the unique tradition of this world. Shaking his head, Chen Tian said crisply, since you don't make a move, then I will make a move first. As soon as the words fell, he used a flash body technique and went straight to the controller of this gold exchange. He didn't want to waste time with these people. There are more than 100 gold exchange waiting for him. The gold exchange is underground. Although the internal space is not small, it is not large. Chen Tian dare not use ninjutsu at will. Using a powerful ninjutsu in such an environment might blow himself up. So the moment he appeared in front of the Jonin, a long sword appeared in his right hand. Secret book, draw the sword and slash. Swish. A white light like moonlight flashed and came in front of the Jonin at a speed that was invisible to the naked eye. The Jonin's long-term combat experience saved his life. Although he did not see Chen Tian's movements clearly, he instinctively pulled the Chunin beside him to block in front of him. After the sword light, the Chunin had been split in half, and he didn't even have time to scream. Although the Jonin escaped, his right arm was neatly cut off under the afterglow of the sword light. The intense pain continued to destroy his reason. When he was about to scream, lightning flashed, and with a puff, a child's palm pierced his chest. It's so fast. Looking at the little hand that pierced his chest with difficulty, the Jonin's eyes went black and lost his last consciousness. Before he died, what he regretted most was why he still looked down on this child when the organization had sent so much news. After shaking off the body of the Jonin, Chen Tian stood there and wiped the blood on his hands after the Reikiri. The controller was killed instantly. How is it possible? The controller is a Jonin, and he is just a child. Although everyone felt that it was too dreamy, there were always smart people. After seeing Chen Tian kill the Jonin in an instant, the more than 20 people had already moved towards the entrance stealthily. It was not until Chen Tian set his eyes on them and knew that the other party had discovered them that these people shouted at the same time, "Run away, we are not his opponents at all." Hoo-la la. Hearing this, everyone reacted and rushed towards the entrance desperately. Get out of the way. Otherwise, I will kill you. Let me go out first. Let me go out first. Die. All of you die. Looking at this group of people who were extremely arrogant before, now crowding each other at the entrance where only one person can pass, and even starting to attack those who blocked them, Chen Tian curled his lips in disdain. This is why I like Konoha. Even Sarutobi Hiruzen is willing to use his life to protect others. With a sigh, Chen Tian suddenly moved, performing the instant body technique one after another, waving and flashing the long sword in his hand again and again, taking a life every time. Even if someone wanted to resist, Chen Tian's nearly perfect instant body technique was almost as fast as flying thunder god in such a place, and they couldn't see it clearly. It took less than 30 seconds for Chen Tian's figure to appear again, but at this time, no one stood except him. He picked up all the dozens of white and blue cards on the ground, and his eyes were on the only purple card. After picking it up, he didn't rush to check it, but came to the entrance. The smell of blood here is too strong. He doesn't like it very much, so he'd better check the cards after leaving. With his right hand gently placed on the wooden door of the entrance, Chen Tian shouted, "4 symbol seal, open." That's right. He had sealed the entrance before coming in to ensure that no one would escape. Otherwise, it would not be easy for him to chase these people after they escaped. After all, there were quite a lot of them. Fire escape, great fire extinguishment. After opening the seal and leaving the gold exchange, Chen Tian turned around and threw a fire. Looking at the raging fire burning the ruins of the gold exchange, he gently threw out a wanted order. After leaving Chen Tian, the wanted order fell to the ground like a stone. It was Chen Tian's own wanted order. With the blessing of the light and heavy rock technique, even the paper had the gravity of stone. Nodding with satisfaction, he put away his sword and headed for the next destination without looking back. Not long after Chen Tian left, those who went to surround and kill him also came to this place. Looking at the burning gold exchange, everyone's face turned black. Especially the intact bounty order on the ground. It seemed to be laughing at them nakedly. Check around. He must not have gone far. With an order, dozens of people instantly dispersed, trying not to miss any corner. Unfortunately, Chen Tian has already flown away. Although the speed is not fast, he did not leave any trace. Chapter 43 Shadow Level, System Upgrade. Half a year has passed since the first gold exchange was destroyed. Kushina will give birth in 2 months at most. During this time, Chen Tian destroyed a total of 23 gold exchange sites, killing more than 300 people. Most of them were Chunin, the rest were Jonin, and there were almost no Genin. This was only the result of 3 months. Later, no matter which gold exchange site Chen Tian went to, it was empty, without a single person. Looking at the thin layer of dust, it was obvious that almost all the people in the gold exchange site had evacuated. After searching for a whole month, he did not encounter a single person in the gold exchange site. In desperation, he left the land of fire and came to the land of earth to inquire about the news. At first, he could still find a few ninjas and samurai belonging to the gold exchange site, but not long after, these people also disappeared. During this period, Chen Tian discovered that there were many blood ninjas in the gold exchange site, and their physiques were extraordinary. However, after dying in Chen Tian's hands, these bloodstains became his bloodstains. What surprised him the most was that his Senju physique actually gave birth to wood release. The same wood release as the first Hokage, not the junk like Yamato. After wandering in the land of earth for 2 months, Chen Tian wanted to return to Konoha when he had nothing to show for it. After his efforts, there were many strong people in Konoha, but Chen Tian was still worried, so he planned to return to Konoha first. Well, it's on the way. Let's go from the land of rain. Maybe we can meet Konan and Nagato. After thinking for a while, Chen Tian made sure that Kushina would give birth in 2 months, and then he walked towards the land of rain. A few years ago, the demigod Hanzo had died at the hands of Nagato, so the land of rain was controlled by Nagato at this time. Chen Tian had a clear understanding of Nagato's strength, so he only planned to take a look from a distance and leave. The reason for this plan was that his strength had increased a lot, which gave him some confidence. Although the cards picked up in the past 6 months were not high-end goods such as gold and red, they were numerous. So he forcibly pushed up his strength, but now he still has one thing to do. Host, Chen Tian, Talent, Space Talent LV3, Physical Skills, Konoha Great Cyclone LV8, Full Level Limited, Ninjutsu, Portable Space LV1, Great Fireball Jutsu LV8, Earth Flow Wall Jutsu LV7, Earth Dragon Bullet Jutsu LV9, Reikiri LV7, Water Array Wall LV7, Water Dragon Bullet LV9, Instant Body Jutsu LV9, Tail Beast Ball LV4, Earth Flow Wall LV6, Thunder Dungeon Walk LV8, Dungeon Jutsu LV6, Earthflow Tremor Jutsu LV9, Great Fire Extinguishing LV6, Multiple Shadow Clones LV7, Unglazed Jutsu LV4, Light and Heavy Rock Jutsu LV8, Full Level Limited, Swordsmanship, Secret Book, Sword/LV8. Secret Book, Swallow Return LV5, Medical Ninjutsu, Palm Immortal Jutsu, Healing Jutsu, Thin Injury Extraction Jutsu, Sealing Jutsu, Omitted. Physique, Senju Physique, Uchiha Physique, Kaguya Physique, Mizunotsuki Physique, Hyuga Physique. Physical Fitness, Jounin. Can fight Jounin without chakra, comprehensive combat power, cage level primary. Note, when the host reaches cage level, the system can be upgraded. After the upgrade, it will fuse the same type of ninjutsu. Do you want to upgrade? Yes/no? This line of words appeared after Chen Tian reached cage level, which made him happy for a long time. He kept picking up cards. Chen Tian estimated that even the 6 Paths Sage did not know as many ninjutsu as he did, but most of them were ninjutsu and bloodstains that he would never use. He felt that it was a pity to throw them away. Every time he opened the system panel, it was so dense that he was dazzled. Now he finally got rid of this trouble. Fusion. Without any hesitation, and even with a little excitement, Chen Tian clicked it immediately. System upgrading skills fusion physique fusion. Half an hour had passed, and Chen Tian, who was flying in the air, suddenly found that he had lost control of his body and fell from the air. Fortunately, he was only 3 meters above the ground, and with his physique as a senior ninja, he could easily carry it. But his body was still unable to move, and he could only lie straight on the ground, unable to move except for his eyeballs. Damn it, this didn't happen during the last upgrade. Why didn't they remind me? He cursed madly in his heart, but the system didn't respond. Knowing that cursing couldn't solve the problem, his brain turned quickly. This place is very close to the rain country. 1 kilometer ahead, he can see the rain under Nagato's perception ninjutsu, rain tiger free jutsu. Ordinary wild beasts are nothing. The murderous aura on him is enough to scare them away, but he is afraid that a ninja from the rain country will suddenly run out. Hanzo may not dare to touch him if he is alive, but Nagato, that madman, will definitely dare to do so. Then he will be dead. But when Chen Tian's mind was turning, he didn't realize that his hair had begun to change color slowly. The short black hair started to turn purple from the roots to the ends. The next thing was the change in his body. His height of 1.24 meters was normal at the age of 7, but it stopped growing to 1.4 meters in half an hour. He was already as tall as Kakashi 6 months ago. In addition to this, his body became perfect bit by bit. When he lifted his clothes, he could see his perfect 8-pack abs. He had a golden body proportion. His cute little face did not fall behind. Although the change was not big, he changed from cute to handsome. He was not the kind of sissy handsomeness, but full of masculine beauty, which made people reluctant to look away after seeing it. When all these changed, a strange gas continued to flow into Chen Tian's body, strengthening it from the cellular level. If Jiraiya was here, he would be so surprised that he would be speechless, because these gases were natural energy. If it were a fantasy world, these would be representatives of spiritual energy. After absorbing it for 2 days, this change stopped, but Chen Tian was still unable to move. At this time, except for those close to him, no one else could recognize Chen Tian. Unfortunately, he didn't know all this. He was like a disabled person with high paraplegia, who felt nothing, even if his body was sliced. After 2 days of nothing happening, Chen Tian relaxed. But things don't always go as planned. When you least want something to happen, it will happen. Look, a woman wearing a black background with red clouds flew over Chen Tian's head, with 2 beautiful paper wings behind her. The moment he saw this figure, although he knew it was useless, he still subconsciously held his breath. But the worst thing still happened. The woman who had already flown over suddenly flew back, and it seemed that her target was him. No, Xiaonan, don't come over. Don't come over. Chen Tian knew this person, Xiaonan, the beauty of the Akatsuki organization. This is the first female ruthless person in the Naruto world besides Kaguya. The 60 million detonating talismans are far better than Chen Tian. The most important thing is that this guy is a standard cage level strongman. If Chen Tian, who can't move at all, falls into her hands, the consequences can be imagined. But no matter how he prayed, Xiaonan still landed beside him. How can that serious and earnest expression be cute? PFFT. What are you thinking about? Now you should think about how to save your life. Chen Tian despised himself fiercely, and then he quickly turned his brain. He thought he had a rich expression, but because of the system upgrade, his face didn't change at all in Xiaonan's eyes. Looking at this child lying on the ground, and looking at the clothes that had been torn by various small animals in the past 2 days, the messy hair, dirty face, and skinny body after 2 days of wind and sun, combined with the distance between here and the rain country, Xiaonan immediately made up his mind about Chen Tian's origin. Chapter 44. Picked up by Xiaonan. Obviously, this child is just like her and Nagato Yahiko. Both of them are street children in the land of rain. It must be the war that was caused when she and Nagato killed Hanzo and cleaned up the land of rain, which caused this child to lose his parents. That's why he couldn't survive and wanted to leave the land of rain. Unfortunately, he was so hungry that he fainted when he walked here. When he woke up, he had no strength to move and could only lie here and wait to die. Thinking of this, Xiaonan felt a little guilty and distressed, and she also felt a lot of empathy because she was also like this child before she became an orphan because of the war and often suffered from hunger and cold. The reason for thinking this way, in addition to Chenshin's eyes that were the same as the dead Yahiko, there was also the weak chakra on Chenshin's body, which was obviously just an ordinary person. Xiaonan put all her guilt for the land of rain on this child and decided to take him back first. Chenshin didn't know what was going on in Xiaonan's mind. He only saw her standing stupidly beside him. The charming face was sometimes guilty, sometimes nostalgic, and kept changing. If he knew what Xiaonan was thinking, he would definitely say, the clothes are torn because of the animals. They are dirty because they have been lying here for 2 days. They are pale and thin because their bodies have been transformed too much. They originally had natural energy to replenish, but after they stopped absorbing it, they began to consume their own abilities. Their eyes were just amazed by you for a moment. Unfortunately, he didn't know all this, and he didn't even know his own changes. He was still hoping that Xiaonan wouldn't recognize him. Hey, what are you doing? Stop it, you female hooligan. Suddenly, Xiaonan reached out and hugged Chenshin. Although she was talking nonsense in her heart, she couldn't stop the other party's actions. Watching herself getting closer and closer to the rain country, Chenshin completely gave up her unrealistic fantasy. Her 2 bright eyes were full of helplessness, and she could only leave it to fate. After a while, Chenshin was taken to the rain country by Xiaonan, who found a room to put him down temporarily and then left alone to find Nagato. Nagato's real position must not be exposed, and Xiaonan knew this very well. Damn woman, can't you put yourself in a better position? His head tilted to the right, his left hand pressed under his body, his whole body twisted like an octopus. Although he didn't feel anything, Chen Tian was still very upset. When he looked around, he suddenly saw a big mirror not far from the bed. He immediately started to think, this can't be Xiaonan's own room. It turns out that women all love beauty, such a big mirror. But before he could finish his sigh, a shocking scene happened. Who is the person in the mirror? For a moment, Chen Tian didn't recognize himself when he saw his own image. In addition to the change in appearance, what's the matter with the bird droppings on his forehead? What's the matter with the chicken coop-like hair? Why did my handsome royal robe become a beggar's dress? A series of questions arose in his mind. Although he didn't want to admit it, he knew that it was him. It was just messed up by the system. Then he breathed a sigh of relief. It's good to change your appearance, so you don't have to worry about being recognized. Without the danger of life, his big heart instantly played a role, and he guessed why Xiaonan brought him back in an instant. In the original work, Xiaonan was very kind when she was a child, but she was changed by life later. But even so, she would have more or less goodwill in her heart, and it is impossible to completely erase it. They created the Akatsuki organization to allow everyone to live in peace, but now because of their own reasons, the Rain Country has entered the war again, so they feel guilty. Combined with his current honor, everything is so logical. Knowing Xiaonan's purpose, Chenshin was not worried at all, and his eyes began to observe Xiaonan's room. Xiaonan, who left the room on the other side, came all the way to the location of Nagato's body. Crack. Pushing open the door, Xiaonan whispered, "Nagato, I'm back. How is the matter? Are you injured?" Nagato's tone was a little low, but there was a lot of concern in it. Since Yahiko's death, Xiaonan has been his only relative. All the ninjas who escaped died, and I was not injured. After a pause, Xiaonan said, "I brought back a child who was about to starve to death because of the war." Then she told him everything after she met Chenshin and proposed to take Chenshin in. Nagato frowned at first, but slowly relaxed as Xiaonan told her story. When he knew that Chenshin became an orphan because of the war, the guilt in his eyes flashed, but then turned into determination. He was for the peace of the ninja world, and sacrificing a few people was necessary. If Chenshin saw the emotions of the two at this time, he would definitely sigh. Young people. That is, They had just avenged Yahiko not long ago, and the Akatsuki organization was just about to recruit rebel ninjas. If it was 12 years later, after they had intrigues with a group of rebel ninjas, they would probably destroy him humanely when they saw him. No matter which world, young people in their 20s are not so deep-minded. After Zayanan finished her story, Nagato said, "Okay, but he is not a member of the Akatsuki organization. The Akatsuki organization will be composed of S-level rebel ninjas in the future, and there is no place for an ordinary child. This is also for the good of the child, to keep him away from those dangerous people." Then Nagato added, "You can teach that child to practice ninjutsu, and you can find me if you need ninjutsu." Hearing this, Zayanan showed a charming smile, and the rain in the rain country seemed to be diluted. "Since this child has become like this because of us, let me compensate him." Zayanan thought so in her heart, without considering that those things were all in her mind, and Chen didn't say a word at all. Emotional women are really scary. After leaving Nagato, Zayanan quickly returned to her room with a pile of food in her hand. Seeing Chen's embarrassed appearance, especially the extremely conspicuous bad droppings, she slapped her forehead immediately, put down the food in her hand, and take him to take a bath. Female hooligan. My innocence, you must be responsible for me. Enjoying the free bath of the beautiful woman, Chen almost laughed crookedly in his heart. During this process, Zayanan's cheeks were flushed and very shy. Although Chen is only a 7-year-old child, he is 1.4 meters tall, and Zayanan is only 19 years old this year. After taking a bath and changing his clothes, Zayanan threw him on the bed and began to feed him. Although it was only liquid food, it still made Chen very satisfied. After finishing all this, Zayanan left him to recover on his own and went to another room to rest. She was also very tired from going out to hunt down the disobedient ninjas in the rain country. Not long after Zayanan left, Chen suddenly found that his fingers seemed to be able to move. Then slowly, his arms, calves, thighs, etc. all regained consciousness, and it would not take long for him to recover. Chapter 45 Leaving the Rain Country. Not long after, with the system's prompt sound system upgrade completed, Chen completely returned to normal. Open the system panel. Without caring about other things, Chen immediately began to observe his various attributes. Host, Chen. Physique, Janin. Strength, intermediate cage. Physique, mixed element key LV1, 0/100. Note, there are 10 levels in total, and after reaching the maximum level, you can destroy the sky with one glance. Skills, all laws come from the heart LV1, 0/100. Note, there are 10 levels in total, and you can release all fused ninjutsu without a seal. Kyankan bag with formation LV1, 0/100. Note, there are 10 levels in total, and you can cast all sealing techniques without a seal. Creation seal LV1, 0/100. Note, there are 10 levels in total, and you can heal all damage. The effect increases with the level. Cut into LV1, 0/100. Note, there are 10 levels in total, and there is only one sword. You can split mountains and open the sky. The effect increases with the level. Ancient God War LV1, 0/100. Note, a total of 10 levels, containing infinite melee methods. The effect increases with the level. At a glance, the system has integrated the thousands of different ninjutsu he had learned before into 5 comprehensive techniques. Each represents ninjutsu, sealing technique, healing technique, sword technique and physical technique. Although it has been integrated, he can use the previous ninjutsu at any time, as long as he wants. And with the upgrade of these 5 techniques, the power of his previous ninjutsu has also been greatly enhanced. After communicating with the system, Chen realized that if these 5 techniques want to be upgraded, they must constantly integrate new ninjutsu to improve the level, including physical fitness. The special physical fitness is mixed with one gas, and his role is to accommodate everything in the world, and everything can be integrated into it. The system is thoughtful this time. Looking at the brand new system panel, Chen knew that all these techniques and physical fitness were transformed to allow him to better integrate cards in the future. Feeling the powerful strength in his body, Chen really wanted to find someone to fight. In fact, his current strength But the next moment, an endless feeling of hunger suddenly emerged, almost making him scream out in surprise. He didn't care about experiencing his strength and left the room as quickly as possible, found a random restaurant and started eating. Bring all the dishes again. Pointing to the plate on the ground that was already as high as a person, Chen Tian puffed his cheeks and said vaguely to the boss. No one in the restaurant was eating anymore, and they all looked at Chen Tian with astonishment in their eyes. The boss smiled bitterly and said, the chef is exhausted and can't even stand up now. What do you think? Pa. Hundreds of bills were thrown on the table, and Chen Tian said in a muffled voice, go and ask for money. It's up to you. I want to eat. Okay, I'll go right away. As if afraid that Chen Tian would regret it, the boss who took the money ran out in a flash. He ate a lot, and after eating 5 chefs, he was full. As he continued to eat, Chen Tian's figure recovered little by little until he returned to his previous perfect shape, and then he stopped. He wanted to leave just like that, but looking at the sparse rain outside, he decisively gave up the idea. As long as it was in the rain, except for Black Zetsu, no one could avoid being discovered by Nagato, and Chen Tian couldn't do it either. If he forced to leave, he couldn't beat Nagato now. With Conan, he would definitely be beaten. In desperation, Chen Tian could only return to Conan's room. A month had passed in a flash, and Chen Tian and Conan had become close. He even met Nagato twice. It must be said that the two of them treated him well and taught Chen Tian sincerely. This made him tangled in his heart. He originally planned to kill them to explode the cards in the future, but he didn't expect to develop feelings for them slowly. However, these are all things for the future. The most urgent thing is to return to Konoha. Kushina is about to give birth. After a lot of soft and hard persuasion and showing the strength of a Chunin, Conan gave him a vacation. Take these detonating talismans. Don't save them. I have a lot. Throwing a storage scroll to Chen Tian, Conan's face was full of worry. Looking at the detonating talismans in the storage scroll, Chen Tian opened his mouth wide, and his little face was full of disbelief. 1 million detonating talismans? After sending Chen Tian out of the rain country, Xionan watched him go away and spread her wings to look for the S-level rebel ninja. The Akatsuki organization's plan to recruit rebel ninjas officially began. She and Nagato both had to leave the rain country, so it was good to let Chen Tian go out for a while. After jogging away from the rain country, the Heart of All Laws suddenly activated, and Chen Tian shot out with a whoosh. Damn, the first level Heart of All Laws actually made my flying speed twice as fast. Feeling the strong wind blowing in his face, a sense of heroism came out spontaneously. Great fireball jutsu. Boom. A fireball as big as a car tire suddenly hit the ground, and the power generated after the explosion was enough to rival sea-level ninjutsu. Other people's fireball jutsu is only as big as a basketball, and mine is as big as a car tire, more than twice as powerful. It seems that other ninjutsu are about the same. Staring at the pit left by the explosion of the great fireball, Chen Tian secretly speculated on the power of his other ninjutsu. Swoosh. At this moment, a shuriken suddenly shot towards him, aiming at his legs. Water array wall. With a wave of his right hand, a water curtain appeared under his feet, blocking the shuriken. With the blessing of the All Laws are from the heart, these ninjutsu are not only instantaneous, but can also be changed at will. Kid, have you seen this person? The next moment, the person who attacked Chen Tian appeared not far from him, took out a wanted order and asked. Looking closely, it was his own wanted order, but the person did not recognize him. Asking someone to attack directly, worthy of being a gold exchange. Chen Tian secretly complained in his heart and slowly landed. It's not easy for someone to deliver to the door, so he can't let him run away. Rakery. The moment he landed, his body suddenly rushed out, and a flash of lightning passed by, and he appeared behind the person who came. What a pity, it's a little short. Chen Tian shook the blood off his hand, his face full of regret. Rakery was originally fast, and now it has doubled, so he didn't grasp the angle well, and made a mistake. Until then, there was a noise behind him, and the man's left arm fell to the ground. Although Chen Tian's attack missed, it also cut off his left arm. How is it possible? How can you be so strong? Covering his broken arm, the man screamed hoarsely, but his face was full of fear. Originally, he thought that the other party was just a child who mastered flying ninjutsu, and he could just kill him after asking questions. But he didn't expect that the other party would cut off his arm with one blow, and he didn't even react. I was wrong. Please spare my life. Without an arm, he couldn't make a seal. At least he couldn't. So he knelt on the ground and begged bitterly. But the moment he lowered his head, his eyes were full of vicious and cruel looks. Shaking his head, Chen Tian asked with interest, "Didn't you want to find me? Why are you begging for mercy now? This person is a big fish at the level of cage. Not to mention the quality of the card. At least if this person died, it would be very painful for the exchange gold." For this reason alone, Chen Tian would never let him go. The next moment, a long sword had pierced his chest. You are Chen Tian?" At the last moment before his death, this person's heart was still full of doubts. Villains die because they talk too much. I won't give you a chance. After throwing down a sentence and picking up the red card on the ground, Chen Tian left slowly. On a hill in the distance, a red-haired woman looked at Chen Tian in horror. His powerful strength completely shocked her heart. He seems to be from the rain country, so I'll go there. Rubbing her belly, that was pregnant for 10 months, the woman slowly went to the rain country. Chapter 46 Arrangement, Encounter with Itachi. It didn't take long for Chen Tian to return to Konoha smoothly. On the way home, he ran into Kushina's best friend Uchiha Mikoto. When he saw the child in her arms, he knew that Kushina was about to give birth. The child in Uchiha Mikoto's arms was Uchiha Sasuke, who was less than a month older than Uzumaki Naruto. Since he was already born, Naruto would not be far behind. By the way, when he saw Mikoto, he also saw Uchiha Itachi. Itachi, who was only 2 years younger than him, began to shine when he saw him, and his eyes were full of admiration. Chen Tian smiled at this, and didn't take it to heart. He is almost 7 years old this year, and there is no one under 10 years old in Konoha who doesn't admire him. It's normal to have another Uchiha Itachi. Almost all the cage level strongmen in Konoha have a close relationship with him, and the Hokage is his brother. His achievements are spread without any omission. As a result, his reputation in Konoha is greater than that of the Hokage, which led to this situation. After chatting with Mikoto for a few words, Chen Tian couldn't wait to return home. After everyone celebrated, they began to discuss Kushina's matter. Kushina will give birth at the edge of Konoha, where a strong enough seal has been set up. The third generation wife, Lady Biwako Sarutobi, will deliver the baby herself, and I will also be on the side to take care of her. Minato did not hide anything from Chen Tian and told him all his plans. When the Jinchuriki gives birth, the seal will loosen, and the tailed beast will definitely want to break the seal and come out. This is an extremely dangerous thing. If someone maliciously destroys it, the consequences will be in this way. I will take Jiraiya, or Orochimaru, and Tsunade to guard nearby to prevent accidents. Even if an accident occurs, with you, my brother, and the 5 of us at the level of cage, we can beat the Ninetales back. Although Obito's blackening had been destroyed long ago, what he saw and heard during this period made him fearful. He, the butterfly, has fluttered his wings a lot, but many things are still happening, and Obito is not necessarily the same. But, looking at Sarutobi Hiruzen sitting next to him, Chen Tian hesitated to speak. Minato, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Tsunade instantly knew Chen Tian's concerns. Sarutobi Hiruzen's idea of controlling power was shattered in their hands. Who knows if Sarutobi Biwako will take advantage of this opportunity to take action. There is no such thing in the original book, but Chen Tian did not completely suppress Sarutobi Hiruzen. God knows whether he will take risks, now that he has no power or influence. When thinking about this, Chen Tian saw that several people were laughing, which made him feel puzzled. It was his good brother Minato who explained to him, the third Hokage is now the assistant of the Hokage, and he is in charge of Konoha with me. He is very reliable. Hearing this, Chen Tian's eyes widened. He helped Minato solve the problem without hesitation, and you sent him back? But looking at the smiling faces of others, it doesn't seem to be the case. At this moment, Sarutobi Hiruzen seemed to see what Chen Tian was thinking, and he said in person, I did want to limit Minato's power, but it turned out that Minato was more suitable for being the Hokage, so I'll let it go. Seeing Konoha growing stronger and stronger day by day, the obsession in my heart is getting smaller and smaller. As long as Konoha can become stronger, I can naturally let it go. What's more, my power is now greater than when I was a Hokage. Looking at Sarutobi Hiruzen's clear conscience, Chen was silent for a while, not knowing whether he should believe him. Then he thought of the original work where he died in order to protect Konoha, and he immediately understood his thoughts. Sarutobi Hiruzen did a lot of wrong things for power, but his contribution to Konoha was really not small. It can even be said that he has been working hard for the development of Konoha all his life, but he just used the wrong method. Now seeing Konoha getting better day by day, knowing that he can't do it, it makes sense to support Minato. Chen even suspected that if anyone dared to ask Minato to step down, Sarutobi Hiruzen would be the first to fight. After reading all this, Chen looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen with a much kinder look. Just because he died for Konoha, Chen believed his sincerity. In that case, after taking a look at the expressions of several people, Chen continued, then let the third generation guard Konoha, the eldest brother will accompany Kushina, and the other 4 of us will guard the 4 directions. How about that? Although Chen did not say anything, the third generation made everyone feel relieved. Jiraiya, Tsunade and Orochimaru are all disciples of the third generation, and their feelings are still very good. Minato is also the grandson of the third generation, and they can be regarded as a family. In addition to controlling the power in Minato's hands, the third generation is very good to Minato. They are also afraid that Chen will continue to fight with the third generation, which will not end well. However, this kind of thing can be kept in mind, and the most urgent thing is still Kushina's problem. Tsunade, the first medical ninja in the ninja world, has checked and confirmed that Kushina will give birth within 2 days, and preparations must be made as soon as possible. Everyone was thinking about Chen words, but in the end they looked at Minato. After all, Kushina is his wife, and the child she gave birth to is his, so it is best for him to make the decision on these matters. Okay, let's do it this way. He originally planned to accompany him alone, and there was no need to mobilize a large number of people. But since Chen was so determined, he would not object. His younger brother has always been opinionated and very mysterious. Since he insisted on doing this, it means that there must be something he doesn't know about. So it is best to be careful. Everyone present knew that Chen had a secret, but they didn't ask. Anyway, Chen has always been helping Konoha and helping them. What's wrong with having a little secret? Just ask what's wrong with you? After the discussion, everyone went back to their homes and looked for their mothers. Taking the opportunity to meet Kakashi might die, Chen walked back to his home slowly. But he didn't expect to meet 5-year-old Uchiha Itachi on the way, and the other party had been following him. After discovering Itachi, Chen changed direction and walked towards the river where Naruto caught fish when he was a child. Come out, you followed me all the way, what's the matter? Seeing that there was no one around, Chen stared at a tree behind him and said with a half smile, Lord Chen, I just... Itachi came out with a red face, stuttering when he spoke, looking very cute. A little carrot head. Chen secretly sighed in his heart. Itachi was still cute when he was a child. Then he comforted him softly. Don't worry, talk slowly, I don't blame you. After hearing Chen words, Itachi gradually relaxed. Even the future god Itachi would still be nervous when he saw his idol at the age of 4. Lord Chen, thank you. If it weren't for you Uchiha. Although Itachi didn't finish, Chen understood what he meant. It was because of him that Konoha developed vigorously, which suppressed the contradiction between Konoha and Uchiha. Otherwise, the extinction of the Uchiha clan might not be far away. However, Chen knew this matter very well, and it was just suppressed temporarily. It is estimated that in a few years, the contradiction will break out again. The inside story could not be explained in a short time. Looking at the sky, Chen shook his head and said, this matter is not so easy to solve. I have things to do these days. Can I talk to you later? Although a little confused, Itachi still nodded obediently and said, okay, then I won't bother Master Chen. Looking at Itachi's leaving back, Chen was also a little surprised. He didn't expect that he knew these things at the age of 5. No wonder the third generation said that he could think like a shadow when he was a child. But thinking that he was the prince of Uchiha, he felt relieved. Chapter 47. Kushina gives birth. Obito arrives. After returning home, Chen Tian also thought about what happened with Itachi today. Thinking about it, he suddenly smiled and said, I didn't expect this little guy to even consider this. Itachi, or the entire Uchiha, has nothing to do with him, but Itachi chose to find him. If you say that all this is because he is his idol, Chen Tian doesn't believe it. Chen Tian just figured out the real reason, which is because of his identity. Although he is just a Konoha genin, whether it is the Hokage, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, or the Konoha Sannin, they are all closely related to him. Even Orochimaru stayed in Konoha entirely because of him. So as long as he is willing to show goodwill to Uchiha, Konoha will have the same attitude. I don't know if the little guy thought of it himself, or if someone gave him advice. But no matter what, Chen Tian will take care of this problem. He doesn't want to see the internal strife in Konoha. While he was thinking, in the clan of the Uchiha clan, the little Itachi was discussing with a boy who was older than Chen Tian. Brother Shizu, why did Lord Chenshin say that this matter would not end so easily? Although Itachi had been very smart since childhood, he was still too young to figure it out. Uchiha Shizu, who was sitting opposite him, was not very old either, but he was also 11 years old. He had more or less understood this kind of thing, so he asked Itachi to find Chenshin. Shizu was the son of Uchiha Kagami, who belonged to the 3rd Hokage faction. After his father died in battle, he had been excluded by the Uchiha clan. In addition, the 3rd Hokage used this fact to get information from him many times, so he naturally knew these things. After thinking for a while, he touched Itachi's hair and said, you are still too young now, you will know in the future. After that, the two left here and went home. Not long after they left, a one-eyed man wearing a black nightgown and a spiral pattern mask appeared here. Judging from his appearance, he came through space, so he did not trigger Konoha's alarm system. He took a deep look at Konoha. He had heard about the changes here before, but he was still surprised. Then there was endless anger. Lin is dead, but you are getting better and better. You will deserve to die. After saying this with gritted teeth, his figure was swallowed by space again, and went to the roots of Konoha underground. He was going there, to find his partners and find out where Kushina gave birth. After a good sleep, Chenshin felt refreshed. Although he knew that Kushina would give birth tonight, no one except Chenshin knew the exact time. In desperation, everyone was guarding near the house, trying to send Kushina to the place of birth as soon as possible. Kakashi, do you want to have a bite? Just a glance, Kakashi's silver white hair exposed him to Chenshin. He walked to Kakashi with a string of 3 color balls, shook them in front of him, and swallowed them in one bite. It was helpless to be recognized, but after seeing Chenshin's actions, he was even more frustrated. If he could beat Chenshin, he would definitely let Chenshin know why the flowers are so red. However, he had known Chenshin's strength at the level of Cage in the past few days, and he couldn't believe it in his heart. Cage level is not a cabbage, it is the Cage of the 5 major ninja villages. It's like a little kid you knew in your previous life suddenly became the one who can dominate your country. How do you feel? While Chenshin was teasing this and that, time quickly came to the evening. When the first ray of sunset appeared, he instantly came to Kushina's side. Sure enough, the next moment Kushina's stomach hurt. The time is up, everyone, take action. With Chenshin's words, many Enbu around immediately began to move, and Minato used Flying Thunder God to take Kushina away as soon as possible. Looking at the surrounding Konoha Sannin, Chenshin said, we should also be in place. 3rd generation, Konoha is handed over to you. The 3 nodded at the same time, and went to their respective positions. Sarutobi Hiruzen was left alone to return to the Hokage's office. Because it was arranged in advance, everyone quickly returned to their positions and everything was on track. In addition to Minato accompanying in the room, Chenshin, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Tsunade were located in the 4 directions of southeast, northwest, and northeast outside the barrier. There are still a large number of Anbu guarding the places they can't take care of, which can be said to be a foolproof situation. Recalling that there were only a few Anbu in the original work, and they were killed by Obito in one blow, the current Linoob is extremely powerful. Not to mention Obito, even if Nagato came, he would probably be beaten to death. So Chenshin's worries were slightly relieved. But for some reason, I always feel that something bad will happen. shaking his head to get rid of these thoughts. Maybe it's because of worrying. This Linoop is impossible to get into trouble. Forcibly suppressing his inner worries, he carefully patrolled the surroundings. After a while, Chen Tian felt the sudden fluctuations in the barrier, and he knew that the birth had begun. In the barrier, the Ninetales chakra overflowed, and Minato immediately used the sealing technique to stop the Ninetales from causing chaos. Who is it? Die for me. At this moment, Tsunade in the north suddenly shouted, instantly alarming Chen Tian, Jiraiya and others. Guard this place well, and notify us immediately if there is any situation. After giving the order, Chen Tian rushed out immediately. Jiraiya and Orochimaru in the other two directions did the same, arranging people to guard well, to prevent someone from luring the tiger away from the mountain and rushing out. With the instant body technique that can rival the flying thunder god, Chen Tian was the first to arrive near Tsunade. As expected, the person who came was Uchiha Obito. In an instant, Chen Tian's murderous intent surged wildly in his heart, and he couldn't hold it back at all. He originally wanted to use Obito's layout, but he overestimated himself. Thinking of Obito's purpose, Chen Tian's mind was blank except for the word kill. What layout do you need? Just fight them one by one. After spitting out these words coldly, Chen Tian no longer hesitated, used the instant body technique, and instantly appeared in front of Tsunade. Chapter 48, Killing Obito and the Incident. Let me do it. Standing in front of Tsunade, Chen Tian faced Uchiha Obito. Tsunade is indeed powerful, but his hemophobia has not been cured yet. God knows whether Obito will take advantage of this. As Tsunade retreated, Jiraiya and Orochimaru also arrived at the same time, forming a horn with Chen Tian. Several people looked at each other and made up their minds to keep this person who dared to make trouble. But no one knew the bitterness in Obito's heart. Am I not here to release the Ninetales? Do you have so many cage level people to protect you? According to the plan, at most there will be Minato, Namikaze and Hiroz and Sarutobi. What are these others? Looking at the ferocious eyes of these people, Obito's face was still in tears behind his mask. Now he didn't want to release the Ninetales anymore, but began to consider how he should retreat strategically. Who are you? He wanted to take action directly, but since Jiraiya asked, Chen Tian could only slow down. Obito pretended to be calm and said in a cold voice, my name is Uchiha Madara. Although he was panicking, it must be said that the deterrent power of this name is unparalleled. Jiraiya, Tsunade, and Orochimaru were all slightly shocked after hearing it, and then their faces gradually became solemn. Chen Tian curled his lips in disdain and cursed, bullshit Uchiha Madara. If you want Uchiha Madara, can we still stand here? After saying that, he was too lazy to continue to argue with Obito, took out his sword and slashed. Swish. With a sound, the silver white blade light seemed to be able to cut through space and instantly pierced through Obito's body. It's useless. Obito laughed. You can't hurt him at all. He was about to use Kamu to fool these people, but unfortunately Chen Tian didn't give him any chance at all. Take turns to attack. Don't leave any intervals in between. He can only last 5 minutes at most. While swinging ninjutsu, Chen Tian looked at Obito with full of sarcasm, almost making him spit out a mouthful of blood from the 1982 year. The reason why he was in a hurry to attack before was to force out Obito's Kamu. Now that the goal has been achieved, he only needs to attack without leaving any gaps for 5 minutes. Jiraiya and Orochimaru did not dare to neglect, and attacked Obito one after another. A long-term attack. Then, use the ninjutsu, 10,000 snakes formation. Once Orochimaru attacks, it must be extraordinary. Densely packed, countless snakes of various colors suddenly appeared, biting at Obito desperately. Although these snakes did not cause much damage, their venom was not weak, and Obito could only maintain the Kamu state, so that these snakes could not touch him. Looking at these snakes, Jiraiya was still okay, and Chen Tian and Tsunade retreated more than 10 meters at the same time. If someone with intensive phobia saw this scene, he would probably faint on the ground immediately. In desperation, Obito maintained the Kamu and began to move, but under the pursuit of Chen Tian and others, he had to maintain the Kamu all the time. Soon, 5 minutes had passed, and Obito was forced to release the Kamu. The wheezing sound like a bellows can fully show his fatigue, but Chen Tian will not let him off. Reikiri. The blue lightning flashed, and Chen Tian's right hand pierced Obito's chest. It's solved. Orochimaru and others breathed a sigh of relief. This ninjutsu was too difficult. Izanami. Looking at Obito who was disappearing little by little in front of him, Chen Tian shouted, "He is not dead yet, be careful that he runs away." Another 5 minutes later, Chen Tian used a great fire to send Obito to the underworld and cremated him, leaving no residue. "Obito, thank you so much. I know what you want to ask." Chen Tian clapped his hands and said, "We will talk after this matter is over. Now let's continue the mission." The development of things did not exceed Chen Tian's expectations. Obito was completely useless except for the illusion and hollowness of the main Gekio, and the weak wood escape brought by Hashirama's cells. His hollowness was wasted, and he couldn't even release a great fireball. How could he fight? So it was natural that he died here. In order not to make Kakashi and Minato sad, Chen Tian cremated him for free. When he picked up the card, he found a golden card waving at him. Like a hungry tiger, he took the card and said excitedly, "Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. This is the second chapter golden card he has ever obtained. It's so cool. The golden card is virtual and can be integrated into the mind. Do you want to integrate it? Melt. Melt immediately." Without any hesitation, he made this order in his mind in an instant. This wave of happiness is really great. Obito is indeed a great wicked person. He is doing justice for the heaven, so his character explodes. He beautified himself shamelessly in his heart and returned to his post with brisk steps. But he didn't notice that after he left, a ball of ink-like black thing slowly appeared. Even so many shadow level strong men like them, no one could find it. Obito is dead. Why are there so many strong people in Konoha on guard? His already dark face became even darker, and then he slowly set his sights in the direction of the roots. Then, Black Zetsu infiltrated the land and headed towards the land of rain. Obito was dead, and the only hope left was Nagato, so he had to ensure that the plan went smoothly. In fact, what happened today was far beyond his expectations. The three ninjas of Konoha didn't say anything, so why did that child know Obito's information? The first time he opened Obito's eyes, he failed, and it was only when Madara used illusions and his assistants that he barely succeeded. This was also the first time Obito used Kamu in front of outsiders. Why was he exposed? It always felt that this child seemed to know Obito well, and he had calculated from beginning to end. The more he thought about it, the more fearful Black Zetsu was in his heart. This child must be taken seriously, and it's best to kill him as soon as possible. But when he thought of the power in his hands now, Black Zetsu felt extremely sad. "Mother, I'm so helpless." Staring at the moon pitifully, his tears almost flowed down. All the things outside were dealt with, but an accident happened in the room where Kushina gave birth. After hearing the noise, Minato wanted to go out and take a look, but the ninetales in Kushina's body seemed to be going crazy and attacking the seal. That would have been fine. Minato could still suppress it. But the next moment, the ninetales seemed to have taken stimulants, and the intensity of the attack instantly more than doubled. Even though Minato tried his best, the ninetales still broke through the seal within 2 seconds and descended on the land of the ninja realm once again. Enduring the injuries, Minato used Flying Thunder God to flash continuously and sent away the newly born Naruto, followed by Kushina and Sarutobi Biwako. After doing all this, the ninetales completely appeared at the edge of Konoha. Raw. I'm finally out. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 49. Beating the Nine-Tailed Child. What's going on? When the Ninetales appeared, Chen Tian, Jiraiya and others all felt it. When they saw Minato appear, they asked immediately. The people who came to destroy it had been killed by them. Why did such a thing happen? Not only them, but even Minato was confused. I don't know. The Ninetales impact force suddenly increased several times. I can't suppress it. The other people were all at a loss. Only Chen Tian's heart was gadding. No wonder he was uneasy before. Is something really going to happen? Don't worry about it for now. The most important thing at the moment is the Ninetales. We must not let him rush into Konoha. Adjusting the state in time, everyone focused on the Ninetales. Konoha now has Sarutobi Hiruzen in charge, so they don't need to worry too much. Sure enough, the moment he saw the Ninetales, the third generation began to mobilize troops and transfer all civilians to the shelter. All those below the Chunin, including the Chunin, were not allowed to approach the battlefield, and only the Jonin could go to support. And among them, the younger generation like Kakashi and Might Guy could only go to escort civilians. Relying on his many years of experience as a Hokage, the third Hokage quickly dealt with these matters and led the remaining Jonin to the battlefield. The third Hokage's eldest son Sarutobi Shinosuke, Yuhikyo no his father Yuhikyo no Ishinku and others all followed the third Hokage. Their relatives have already entered the shelter, and now is the time for them to fight for their lives. On the battlefield, after the Ninetales broke away from Kushina, it roared to vent its anger, and was about to completely destroy Konoha. He and Konoha had a deep hatred. At first, Uchiha Madara of Konoha found it, and controlled it with the Sharingan. Then the Shirama Senju slapped him fiercely, and locked him up. Later it was transferred to Uzumaki Kushina's body. It can be said that it was because of Konoha that he lost his poetry in the distance. It was because of Konoha that he forgot the stars and the sea. At this time, he finally got out of trouble, and the two big perverts were already dead. What was he waiting for if he didn't destroy Konoha? So he just vented a few times, and then he stretched out his 10-meter long beautiful legs and ran straight to Konoha. The tail beast ball. As if it couldn't wait, the Ninetales opened its mouth and released a tail beast ball, heading straight for the center of Konoha. Let's fight. Flying Thunder God transformation. Upon seeing this, Minato gritted his teeth and transferred the tail beast ball to the forest outside Konoha. Boom. The explosion sounded, and several kilometers of forest disappeared. The terrifying power was daunting. Seeing that the crisis was temporarily resolved, Jiraiya, Tsunade and Orochimaru rushed up and cooperated with Minato to resist the Ninetales. Although the chakra is almost endless, the Ninetales only knows one move besides the tail beast ball. So under the siege of 4 cage level strongman, he was so angry that he screamed, but he could only retreat step by step, getting farther and farther away from Konoha. However, he was thick-skinned and did not have the super standard power of Hashirama Senju and Uchiha Madara, so he could not kill the Ninetales. Therefore, the battle between the two sides looked extremely fierce, but the winner could not be determined in a short time. Chen Tian had guessed this situation long ago, so he did not go up at the beginning. Instead, he quietly came to the room where Kushina gave birth before. He did not forget the dense cards under the feet of the Ninetales. In the chaos, no one noticed his actions. Although Minato and others were puzzled, they did not care. So Chen Tian came to the room very smoothly. As soon as he opened the door, he saw dozens or even hundreds of cards. These were dropped during the novice protection period and have been maintained until now. System, pick up all and fuse them. Purple card adds 1000 chakras, fusing. Purple card adds 1000 chakras, fusing. Blue card adds 100 chakras, fusing. Red card adds 10,000 chakras, fusing. Chen Tian didn't know how many cards were fused. Anyway, except for the tail beast ball, they were all chakras. If his chakra was originally 1, it would be at least 100 now. After a large wave of fusion, the power of his tail beast ball rose steadily, and it could be on par with the Ninetales. It's hard to say about chakra, but it won't be worse than a Shirama Senju. After nodding with satisfaction, Chen Tian instantly came to the battlefield. You guys take a rest first, and leave the rest to me. After saying this to Jiraiya, Minato and the others, Chen Tian began his own performance. Using the light and heavy rock technique, he flew to a position several dozen meters above the Ninetales' head, and the fireworks show began. Water style, great explosion water wave. Water style, 5-foot dragon. Lightning style, ground walk. Earth style, earth dragon bomb. Fire style, great fire extinguishment. Tail beast ball. A continuous stream of ninjutsu bombarded the Ninetales like crazy, and Minato and the others who were originally a little confused were stunned. This was the first time they saw Chen Tian go all out. Although they knew that this kid was very strong, what was he doing now? He has released hundreds of ninjutsu in this short period of time, right? It's nothing to know so many ninjutsu, but what's the matter with your chakra? Several people roared wildly in their hearts. Among them, even Tsunade, who had the most chakra, couldn't do it. The only one who could do it, the face of the first generation Hokage, Hashirama Senju, appeared in the minds of several people at the same time. Only he could do it. Perhaps he felt that it was not exciting enough, and Chenshin knocked out several people again. Wood release, wood dragon technique. Ice release, ice spirit magic mirror. Sand release, sand flow explosion. Lamb release, molten flow all over the sky. Various bloodline limits appeared one by one, and Minato felt that Chenshin had more blood than all the blood in Konoha, including Minato, Jiraiya and others, as well as the third generation and others who had just arrived were all stunned. Looking at the colorful ninjutsu in front of them, everyone's mouths opened wide, and their minds were blank. Even the Ninetales, who had been beaten, was almost the same. He was a little suspicious of Kitsune at this time. What is this? So everyone who saw the fireworks roared in their hearts. Is it the world that has problems or themselves? Why is this person totally inconsistent with our worldview? However, Chenshin didn't bother to care about their reactions. Although Minato and others have been around all this time, he still hides everywhere. But after getting the nine-tailed fox card this time, he is sure that no one can hurt him before Uchiha Madara is resurrected. So, Chenshin, who is not in crisis, decides to indulge himself. The feeling of this super large turret is so cool that Chenshin feels that he can continue for 3 days and 3 nights. Unfortunately, the nine-tailed fox can't hold on for that long. It has fallen dizzy at this time and has completely lost consciousness. In human terms, the nine-tailed fox has been knocked unconscious by Chenshin. That's it? I haven't had enough fun yet. Looking at the Ninetales who had fainted, Chenshin was very dissatisfied, and he didn't care how shocking his words might seem to others. He felt that he still had 9/10 of chakra left, which was not satisfying. But he couldn't do anything about the Ninetales who had fainted. He couldn't just beat it to death, could he? Kushina still needed it to save her life, so she had to be sealed back in as soon as possible. Brother Minato, bring Kushina here. Shouting to Minato, Chenshin came to the top of the Ninetales and swung his fists to smash it. Who knew if this thing was pretending to faint? Kushina had no ability to fight it. Until then, those stunned people reacted, but then they saw Chenshin's actions. All of a sudden, everyone's eyelids twitched, and they secretly decided in their hearts that they would never provoke this person even if they died. He had fainted, and you still wanted to beat him. It was simply insane. Bang, 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 exclamation mark. Every time Chen Tian landed a punch, their hearts would beat violently. The worst hit was the third generation, who kept thanking himself for not completely offending Chen Tian. Otherwise he would have ended up like the nine-tailed fox. Chapter 50, Millennium Conspiracy. When the Ninetales fell, many people had already left the shelter, so many of Chenshin's actions were seen by them. In a short while, everyone knew that Chenshin had saved Konoha. Mr. Chenshin is still so young, he will definitely be another first generation sir in the future. I will be as strong as Mr. Chenshin in the future and protect Konoha with him. Konoha is finally going to rise. Whether old or young, everyone talked about Chenshin, just like Naruto after Nagato attacked Konoha. Chenshin's reputation in Konoha has reached its peak. If anyone dares to say bad things about Chenshin, he will definitely not survive a day. Soon, Minato appeared again holding Kushina, and Naruto didn't know where he was sent. Kushina was very weak at this time, and her previous energetic appearance was no longer there. Her rosy lips began to turn white, and her pretty face was full of fatigue. Without too much nonsense, he gently let Kushina lie down, and Chenshin pulled the Ninetales over with his bare hands. This move shocked everyone again. No one in Konoha could do this except Might Guy. But Chenshin didn't have time to talk nonsense with them. The first priority was to seal the Ninetales back. 8 trigram seal. 2 4-symbol seals, 1 positive and 1 negative, were superimposed, and a circle of the original seal appeared in Kushina's abdomen. The huge body of the Ninetales rushed into Kushina's body uncontrollably, until it was completely absorbed. If the Ninetales hadn't really fainted, it might not have been so smooth. After wiping the sweat from his forehead, Chen Tian breathed a sigh of relief. Kushina really couldn't be tossed around anymore, otherwise the consequences would be disastrous. If it were an ordinary person, the Ninetales would die the moment it left the body, and this was the case with Gaara in the future. Kushina was able to hold on for so long because of her Uzumaki physique. After the resealing was completed, everyone, including Chen Tian, stared at Kushina nervously. No one had ever done such a thing as resealing the tailed beast after it left the body, and no one knew what the final result would be. Although Chen Tian was 80% to 90% sure, he was still very worried before he saw it. Fortunately, he succeeded. His lips, which were originally pale, became rosy little by little, and the fatigue on his face also began to decrease. Although he has not fully recovered, it is normal. After all, after experiencing such a thing, he needs to rest for a while. Seeing Kushina recovering little by little, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. In addition to caring about Kushina and Jiuwei, they were also afraid that this old man would suddenly go berserk after Kushina died. If that really happened, no one would be able to stop him. Thinking of this, they glanced at Chen Tian inconspicuously. In fact, they thought too much. Chen Tian's chakra increased greatly and became a chakra, but his strength rating did not increase. Because he only increased his endurance, but his attack power did not increase at all. He is invincible in a continuous battle, but if he faces someone like Minato, it is not certain who will win. After all, Minato is too flexible, and there is nothing he can do if he can't hit him. Fortunately, the Uzumaki clan has an amazingly strong physique, and everything is moving in a good direction. With Minato sending Kushina back to the hospital, the matter was officially over. The Ninetales never set foot in Konoha from beginning to end, and Konoha did not suffer any losses. After returning home, Chen Tian was alone. He made a pot of tea and began to think slowly. Minato went to the hospital to accompany Kushina and Naruto. Obito died in my hands. He never entered the barrier from beginning to end, and the Ninetales showed no signs of being controlled. But the Ninetales still broke through the seal. Why? With Minato reinforcing the seal, these things should not happen at all, but they just happened. Taking a sip of tea, Chen Tian continued to analyze. The Ninetales' own strength cannot do this, but brother Minato said that at that time, the Ninetales' impact force suddenly increased several times. It's not just as simple as breaking through the seal. Brother Minato also suffered some injuries. So, what is the reason for all this? What exactly can make the Ninetales' strength soar? He got another cup of tea and shook it in his hand, but Chen Tian's heart sank little by little. In the ninja world, nothing can increase the power of the Ninetales out of thin air, and it only takes a moment. But from another perspective, the Ninetales was created by the Six Path Sage, and the Six Path Sage is the only one who can do this. But the Six Path Sage has been dead for 1,000 years. How could this be possible? Suddenly, Chen Tian's hand tightened, and the teacup in his hand broke with a click, and the tea flowed all over the floor. But he was like a demon, with no reaction at all, letting the tea flow. The Six Path Sage appeared in the finale of the original work, and gave Naruto and Sasuke power. In addition, the chakra of his two sons has been passed down, and now it is in Naruto and Sasuke's body. In this way, everything makes sense. The Six Path Sage should still be alive, although I don't know what form he is in, but it is most likely in the state of soul. He controls everything behind the scenes, monitors the development of every event in the ninja world, and changes it from time to time. The more he thought about it, the smoother Chen Tian's thoughts became, and more ideas emerged from his mind. Since he is still alive, what is his purpose in doing this? According to the original work, the Six Paths Sage and his brother sealed Kaguya together, and his brother moved to the moon to accompany his mother. But the Six Paths Sage did not do that. Instead, he created the ninja clan and ruled the entire ninja world. It can be said that he is an ambitious and unfeeling hero. It is impossible that he is just helping others. He must have his own plans. Little by little, Chen Tian gradually uncovered a corner of the 1,000-year conspiracy. Although he didn't know whether his speculation was correct, he felt a sense of urgency in his heart. If his speculation was true, why would the Six Paths Sage do such a thing? He is an invincible existence in the ninja world. What can make the Six Paths Sage do this must be something that is threatening enough to him, and Chen Tian must prepare early. Coming back to his senses, he cleaned up the broken teacup, constantly recalled his speculation, and compared it with his memory. Chen Tian found that the image of the Six Paths Sage was getting closer and closer to the speculation of those water friends in his previous life. This must be a 1,000-year-old shaman who is more hidden than Black Zetsu. Even Black Zetsu may be a chess piece in his hand, and he calculated this action. After all, the Six Paths monitor the ninja world. Even if Black Zetsu keeps a low profile, he has not been discovered for 1,000 years. Chen Tian was skeptical about this. Forget it. With my current strength, I'm not qualified to think about these things. Let's talk about it later. He rubbed his temples, barely suppressed the stinging pain, after overusing his brain, packed up and fell asleep. Although he slept, Konoha was extremely lively tonight. The appearance of the Ninetales did not destroy a single blade of grass in Konoha. Everyone was very happy. The main character Chen Tian was even more famous. Both ninjas and civilians were talking about him. The only difference was that civilians and children admired him very much, while ninjas trembled when they mentioned him. The scene of beating the Ninetales like a child was deeply engraved in their minds, and could not be erased no matter what. Even the proud Uchiha clan was convinced by this, and dared not continue to do their own thing. They warned their own ninjas not to offend this person, and even if they did, they should not use the name of Uchiha. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.